Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Hey, that sounded like I was sick.
Yeah, no.
I sounded like I had a sickness there. What is going on, everybody? Okay, I've got that I got that on. We cleaned down the studio over the weekend, sold out of Brock's mugs. So we're making more. Like, it's so ridiculous.
It is nuts.
I love you guys. You are so terrific and so dear to us. And
literally had to text Jolene
by the time we
home.
Got home from Bedford to meet halfway to pick up from Jolene. And by the time we got home, I think he had like 4 left. And I was like, okay. Well, and I think I called her before, or I texted her before.
We were still on the road, and she's like, "Yeah, right.
We need more. We need more because of you guys. Thank you." That's just silly. All right, so I know people are tuning in. Maybe I'll give it another minute because I'm super geeked out. We have a new sponsor alert, and I'm very excited about this one. This is a legit. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. And I think it's great. I think it's great. I think it's great that they wanted to connect with you guys.
Is this the one you had the other day with the young lady?
Yes. You mean Michael's future wife?
Wow. Wow. I can understand it. It's hard to find women who aren't nuts.
So Ghost Bed is our new sponsor. And
I've heard good. I've heard good things about them.
So we both do some research. I'm like, this is an American company. This is a guy who he didn't want to make furniture. He wanted to make something that was good for your health, right? He wanted to make something that helped you sleep, that gave you peace at night, that gave you comfort, allowed your body to heal. He had apparently gotten jacked up. I don't know if it was his back or his neck. I look forward to having a conversation with this guy. But so he created Ghost Bed. And it's freaking phenomenal. This company that I'm reading about is phenomenal. But I have to say that my Ghost Bed is coming today. And I've got my tracking number, and I'm going to know when the box comes, and I'm going to be able to see it on my Ring doorbell and get it up the stairs and open it up and be able to share with you. Like, think about it. Who buys a bed online? You know what, everybody? Which is wild. All of these different companies that come up, and they want me to say, oh, there's the number of days that you could try it. It's like 109 days that you could. I'm going to walk you through my process, and you're going to get a pretty badass savings, if you will. So they say Ghost Bed doesn't build mattresses like furniture. They build engineered sleep systems. Their beds are serious health equipment, and it's like where we spend a third of our lives. You might as well get something that's truly extraordinary. And so they're sending me a hybrid. Okay, these things look so fascinating. I'm going to open the door to the conversation on this. You guys are going to get 10% off with my name, ghostbed.com/Wendy. Now, if you want to join with me on this journey, they have a 6-question quiz. And you enter your email, and they'll hook you up with this quiz. And that starts you on your process. Check them out. See what you think. I love American Made. I love family. I love a guy who loves his job and loves what he does because he knows he gives people peace.
And found a problem and fixed it himself.
100%. And watching Brock be in pain with some other back issues that he has, right? So I'm hoping that they're like, you guys did so great. We're going to send Brock one too. But that's what I'm thinking, guys. Ghostbed.com. This is serious. It's time for us to actually invest in the quality of our sleep and getting good, restful, like body healing sleep. Ghostbed.com/Wendy, 10% off. I'm going to give you all of my scoop on it, what it looks like, how it comes. Is it heavy? Is it cumbersome? Because they've got a lot of services for you. They can set it up for you. They do it all. They've got bed frames. They've got mattresses, Brock, for RVs.
Yeah, I saw that.
Especially for RVs, which I think is cool.
I saw, when I checked it out, I saw the adjustable bed. And like it comes all packed and like it doesn't take, you could just pull it apart and which is fascinating because
Yes.
I don't want people coming into my house.
And up and down the stairs.
Yeah.
And blah, 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 blah. This is a lot of different companies make mattresses, but there's only one ghost bed. And I'm super excited to share my experiences with you. But anyway, my original story was their rep is this cute little blondie number named Morgan. And I was like, Morgan, where do you live?
I wonder
and
if
she's
she's
like,
watching.
Tampa. And I'm like, so does my son, Michael. His number is 412. I'm like, do you have kids? She's like, no, I'm from Ohio. I'm like, that doesn't matter.
Oh, my.
I'm
He
like,
likes Ohio.
He likes Ohio. He loves Ohio. I'm like, Morgan, call him, text him. I shared with his number.
Wow.
Well, I might as well pick him.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America. Greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program, Common Sense Conservative Values. Nothing you hear on this show is going to be particularly alarming. I think the majority of you are fully aware of the nonsense this country has gone through, and you've made a conscientious decision to take charge of the information that you get. And a lot of you have chosen day after day, year after year, to come back to the Wendy Bell radio program. For that, let me just start off another busy work week and say thank you. I'm so delighted that you trust us because we don't lie to you. We are just as frustrated and disgusted and nervous and also hopeful for this country, the same way you are. And we're going to give it our best shot. 3 hours today, all this week as well. All you need to do is come back next time with a friend and get our app, wendybellradio.com. Follow along the live video stream. It's great to have you. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. There are a lot of sports on television. The TV was on in our living room all weekend long. Does that drive you crazy when your kids leave the TV on? It was on all weekend long. And like 90% of the time, nobody was sitting in front of the golf or whatever the hell was going on. Olympics or what, I didn't care. I didn't care. I didn't want to hear anything. I didn't want to watch anything. God forbid I had another whoosh. Fox News breaking alert. Something else about Nancy Guthrie. Oh, you know what? This just in. It could be weeks, months, or even years for us to know what happened to the woman. Like, really? What are you doing? And why don't I care? And I found out something I cared about this weekend. And I wasn't expecting it at all. Brock and I had driven about 2 hours away to a cute little community in Pennsylvania. We were meeting his brother and sister-in-law halfway. They live in Gettysburg. We live in Pittsburgh. We're going to go pick up more of these beautiful mugs that we had made. You guys are buying them like nuts. Thank you. Appreciate you. So we met. We're driving back on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Go put the mugs in the storage facility, and my phone dings. And it's my son, Ryan. And it's usually a FaceTime if it's from him because he's away in college. You know the story. He's a sophomore at Tennessee. Except this one was just a video. And he wrote on it, no sound, but great. And I clicked play, and it was just the sweetest thing. So Ryan's best friend is a young woman named Allie. She's darling as the day is long, and they're thick as thieves. She goes to Virginia Tech, he's at Tennessee, and on his 20th birthday, he thought he was going to be all by himself until Allie surprised him and drove 5 hours to knock on his apartment door and surprise him with a birthday cake and candles. And then FaceTimed me so I could be a part of it. That is a special young person. Well, Allie today is leaving to travel abroad for 5 months. And Ryan isn't going to see his friend for a long time. And he kind of fibbed to her and told her that he was busy, couldn't make it. The schedule was so hard. And so sorry I won't be able to say goodbye to you, but we'll talk. The video picks up with him on FaceTime, walking. Sky is behind him, beautiful blue sky. And the FaceTime picks up and it's Allie, lying in the dark, looks like she's lying on her bed, kind of curled up in a ball, not looking very happy, and she sees Ryan's face and she smiles. Hi. I can't hear it, but I can see it. And then he flips his camera around so she can see where he's walking. And he's walking up towards her sorority house. And then the camera shows her face as she screams, gets up, puts on her glasses, tries to put on a sweatshirt, literally racing to get out to the door to run and to jump into her friend's arms. The camera goes back to Ryan watching as the door, waiting for the sorority house door to open, for her to kick it open and start running. And the video ends with this big smile on his face, unlike anything I've probably ever seen. That's what I want. That's what I want to feel, that joy. Something that doesn't cost anything. You don't even have to hear it to feel it, to fall in love with it. And I started to cry. Of course I did. My friends, this isn't difficult. We look out for each other, right? We try to pitch in wherever we can. If there's somebody we know, we can help. We don't need an attaboy or an attagirl or a thank you. You can do it anonymously. And sometimes that makes the gift even better. What I saw in that video, it didn't involve politics. It had nothing to do with black or white or fat or thin or what have you. It was friends doing what friends do, and maybe more. I hope that she ran into my son's arms, and I hope he felt joy because they gave it to me. Everywhere I look in the news today, there are reasons for us to be diverted from that very simple thing that we all want. We want our children to be safe. We want them to find their own paths. We want to watch them do things beyond our wildest imaginations. We want to do the best we can every day, and sometimes it feels like we fall short. But it's not complicated. Everything in the news today is meant to be complicated. It's meant to make you feel a certain way, whether it's disgust or distrust or disdain. Very rarely do you get a ding on your phone with a video that only lasts about a minute that can completely change your vision and your trajectory that day. And he did. And I hope that as she travels safely, and I know they'll talk all the time, that she knows that she is loved. What a profound thing to feel. Isn't it so basic? Isn't that what you crave? To feel that comfort of the love that you deserve. The messages we get, though, is that we're bad. If you vote a certain way, you're bad. If you believe a certain thing, you're wrong. You're a threat. You don't understand. You're confused. That's not the way it is. Here's the real story. None of that can affect what you know inside of you. You know right and wrong, and you know love. What we have right now is a window into a very dark chapter of world history. It's not just in America where disgusting and depraved things are happening. It's not just in America where children are disregarded and abused as collateral. Just disgusting. It's not just in America where you have depraved people of power. We're worried about that power ending and being exposed for being the vile creatures that they are. But we focus on America because our job is to clean it up. Our job is to set it straight. Our job is to fix the system, to illuminate the liars, to eradicate the filth, to stop the freaking fraud. So at the end of the day, each of us has the hope that we will feel in that moment what Ryan and Allie did. Just love. It's not too much to ask. Today, we're going to march through a bunch of different stories. They want you to talk endlessly about the Epstein files. We will. Not endlessly, but we'll talk. How much do you really want to know? How much do you believe you can handle? How much do you want to scrub that off of your heart? I think I'll go with Ryan and Allie. Today, at least. I think we deserve that. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program. Well, I guess there's no money in a bunch of hairy dudes pretending they're princesses. I know that was a hard pivot, right? I didn't know how I was going to stick that landing. Disney is like, oh, about the gay days that we have. Woo! Yeah, nobody wants to sponsor that. It's so weird. Why'd that happen? Let's chew on it together. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Anyway, I'm sure Ryan is not pleased that I share all of his secrets with me. It was the cutest thing ever. Brock, describe it.
It was not my initial response. A lot like a lot of you who responded is, why isn't he dating her?
A lot of reasons.
Let me say this, because I don't think Ryan's reached that age that a lot of us never saw before either, that everything's rooted in friendship before everything else. And with everybody has their own time, this girl had complete joy on her face. Even I saw it.
Joy.
Even I could see it. There was no
like,
words.
What's wrong? And I'm like...
and there really wouldn't have been, if you watched it, there wouldn't have been sound. Because it was a gasp of a...
And like,
yeah, and then this hurried, like, I don't want to waste a second.
Yeah, let me get my glasses on and throw this sweatshirt on.
Here's what it was. I don't care what I look like.
Oh, my God, you're here.
Oh, my God, I get to see you. I don't care what I look like. I don't care how my hair looks, my makeup, or anything like that. For a guy who doesn't see that kind of, like, doesn't... It was nice to see.
I agree.
It was pure. She's right. It was pure joy, and even some strangers got to see it. So
I want to tell you quickly. There's something I want to talk to you about, and it's an interesting offer from Rumble. All right, you may be seen. And this is cute because Rumble wants me to say censorship is back and it's happening everywhere. Censorship never went away. We live in a censorship paradise. Platforms are controlling narratives, are pushing the stuff that they want us to see. Obviously, we want to fight back, and this is why we partner with Rumble. They've been nothing but straight with us and helpful with us, growing our brand and our reach. They are the only company that has stood the test of time and deserves our support. On one side, Rumble is challenging big tech censorship, and now on the other side, they've introduced something that's going to give us protection from the big banks shutting us off. Banks can cancel our accounts, freeze our cards, and that is why Rumble launched their own thing called Rumble Wallet. Okay, it is a wallet that nobody can cancel. It's a wallet that supporters can use to instantly spend money on the site, tip different creators. You know how you guys float money at people? You floated at me from time to time. Rumble gets a cut. Rumble Wallet gives all of it to us. I'm not trying to get you guys to give us money. I'm just saying that this is something they'd like us to talk about. Wallet.rumble.com. Check it out. We'll talk more about it. Wallet.rumble.com.
This fits the story.
Hard time getting somebody to sponsor, pay for anything with their gay days.
Are you really surprised?
I mean, I shouldn't laugh at that. It's like, stop throwing your crap down our throats, right? I don't want straight days. I'm not out there sucking face with my husband at the Magic Kingdom being like, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to see you doing it. Nobody cares.
I also don't want to see Joe in a dress.
I don't want to see you with assless chaps. Go somewhere else. Okay? I don't want your stupid parade. I don't want your furries. I don't want your indoctrination in my school. I don't want your stupid flag. We want our rainbow back. Okay? I love my gay friends, and almost all of the women who I'm friends with are gay. They can attest to that. Can we have our flag back, our rainbow back? They agree. They're like, God, that's ugly. They didn't even know that it had gotten hijacked by the LGBT little mafia, right? And now Disney's like, yeah, about gay days. Sorry, we don't have any sponsors of that. Oh, no. Oh, no. A long-running Pride Month event known as Gay Days at Disney World has been, of all places. I mean, like, really? That's why the whole drag queen story time for toddlers was freaking baffling. Well, no, it's not meant to be. It's meant to be art. No, guys dressing up and making a parody of being a woman isn't appropriate, certainly not for toddlers. Can I squeeze your fake breasts? Really? This is where we are as a culture? No, ladies and gentlemen. No, we're not. No, we're not. Don't try to tell us this. Look, and I don't know this explosion in people who all of a sudden either think they're trans or bi or questioning or queer or this or that. Nobody cares. Okay, nobody cares. Put it all over your social media. I don't care. And I don't care about Disney. And this is hard for my family. We've probably been to Disney 15 times until they started getting creepy. Until they started letting men with full beards and chest hair coming out of their Cinderella dress to be walking at the bridge of the Magic Kingdom or whatever, the castle, with a wand and gloves. Like, no. It was a bad idea when you thought of it. It wasn't inclusive. It just showed how big a corporation can make a big mistake and piss off a lot of people who just want to go and enjoy their children dreaming, right? When we went, my kids played in the whatever, they had some Star Wars thing. And so they got to act like they were Jedis, and a Darth Vader came out, bah, 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 bah. And they're like, that was the best. You pay through the nose just for those pictures, just for your child. In that moment, to drift away somewhere that only they know, and they'll never forget it. And you wanted to have a bunch of dudes walking around, holding hands, wearing rainbow Mickey Mouse ears. Come on. Look, I'm as inclusive as they come, okay? But come on. Some of this is ridiculous. After careful consideration, we have made the difficult decision to pause the Gay Days Orlando event scheduled for June 2026. When would you and your family never want to go? Oh, I don't know. Gay Days, right? Maybe that day. Nobody who's going to sponsor us, right? Changes to our host hotel agreement, the loss of key sponsorship support, and broader challenges currently impacting LGBTQIA plus events nationwide. What are the broader challenges? Like, we tolerated you for a while. We let you do you. You want to paint your hair or do whatever you want to do. Okay, fine. You want to go in a parade? Okay, whatever. But now we've had our fill. We've had our fill, and we want everybody to keep their sex lives private again. Okay? I don't need to know about it. I don't care. See, this is the unwinding that we're up to right now, okay? In 4 years, because it was really hyper-spaced in Joe Biden's alleged presidency. If anybody out there still believes that he was president or that he won, talk to me, because I'll convince you the other way, and you'll hear about it later in the show. This Trump administration is on this super duper short timetable. What do they have to do? They got to bring down prices, got to drill, baby, drill. They got to close the border, done. They got to deport all these people, in process, right? They got to blow up the public school system because that's been co-opted, okay? In process. Got to knock out the grooming at the school level, in process. You got to work on inflation. You got to bring down mortgage rates, got to bring down inflation. You got to get the stock market churn. You got to get people investing. You got to get babies, got to get them skin in the game. And oh yeah, by the way, well, maybe on the weekend we can address, I don't know, the Affordable Care Act, the SAVE Act, getting rid of machines, getting back to 1 day voting by hand, by paper, counted by hand. Remember the good old days when we were able to do that? Then they've got to go through all the vaccines. They got to go through the food pyramid. They got to figure out what's causing autism. How about a cure for cancer? What else do you have on your plate? And a bunch of people in Minneapolis are pissed that ICE is there getting rid of kidnappers, rapists, and murderers. Gosh, ladies and gentlemen, are we confused or what? So when we come back, this is what I want to do. President Trump has been very clear, if you've been following his Truth Social account. It has nothing to do with what's going on in the news right now. It has nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. It has everything to do with election integrity. It is the priority number one. You do not have a sovereign country if you let other countries interfere with your elections and let them be stolen. So next, we're going to take you to Wisconsin. A little flashback, if you will, for all the people who were like, that was the safest, most secure. Buckle up. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Like, whatever, Disney, suck it. Go and have Bud Light. Maybe they'll sponsor you, okay?
Bud Light learned their lesson.
Right? What do you want to do? What? See, what's happened to Disney sucks. My kids would love to go back to Disney, but we won't go back. First of all, it's cost prohibitive. We've managed to sell plasma and make it happen in the past, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it. By any stretch. All right. So, Rumble Wallet. I kind of got short on time on that. But download Rumble Wallet today. You can open an account. And then you know that all of the money right now, we get, I think it's 60% of what you give. And Rumble takes 40%. This way, with wallet.rumble.com, if you so choose, we get it all. Just saying. Something that they are very excited to offer. And so they had asked us if we could please talk about it. And I said, heck, yeah. Yes, we can. Also, let's see. CB Distillery is back. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
big one.
This is a big one. All right, so we have the QR code for this. It was interesting. I was talking to a friend at my twins at a basketball game last night. We were talking about our husbands, and I'm like, "How's Scott?" And she's like, "You know what? He's super stressed out at work, and I've been trying to get him some kind of a gummy, some kind of a calming." I'm like, "Oh, interesting. cbdistillery.com/Wendy." She's like, "What?" I'm like, "Great sale going on, up to 50% off site wide when you use the promo code Rumble." So cbdistillery.com, promo code Rumble. This is huge. Everything they make is premium quality, no artificial fillers, no junk, just clean, plant-based CBD that people trust and come back for. And they have multiple formulations. They have it for pain after exercise, soothing muscles, getting down past the skin. It's not just like numbing the skin. It's about permeating and getting down to soothe your muscles. They have a formula for that. Then there's the one that's sleep. Terrible time sleeping, try their gummies. Beautiful, make you sleep, make you stay asleep and wake up rested. And then, of course, there's the one for stress and anxiety, which I think is always nice to have kind of on the nightstand or somewhere where you're just like, I'm going to lose control. No, you're not. cbdistillery.com, up to 50% off site-wide, promo code Rumble. You know how I love them. They're the best. They are the best. Wow, look at that. Done and done. Brock sent me a new poll. Have you guys seen the poll about who the who the contenders are for the Democratic Party for president in 28? It's super exciting. There's some new names there I wasn't imagining. Oh, that's right. No, there's not.
Same losers.
Is that crazy? Oh my. So what? See how you guys are doing. 5,200 here. Still a little bit better on X, Brock, wouldn't you say?
If for right now, yeah, they're still algorithm. They need to change it back.
Yeah, something got screwy over there. I'm not really sure what it was. By the way, can I say thank you to Anthony in Rankin, Pennsylvania? You got to see these beautiful challenge coins. Holy moly. Thank you so much. Okay, apparently it's child sealed. All right, dang it. It says military order of the... Wow, I can't even read it. I'm going to have to give it to Brock. 100 years. Beautiful coins. Challenge coins. You guys know we collect them. So if you have challenge coins, and this one, let's see. Marine Corps League Detachments, Department of Nevada. That's cool. I can tell this is somebody's that had, I of course opened them up and put them in my case. This is beautiful. Beautiful challenge coin. Thank you so much. Brock and I will fight over it.
I'll lose.
He'll have one. I'll have one. I love that. Thank you very much, Anthony. That was very thoughtful of you. And by the way, your stuff, what you guys, like you bought so much stuff. I'm like, what? It's crazy. So thank you. Nuts. Brock was surprised that his sold out. I was like, really?
I didn't expect it.
I think it's great. I think it's great. God, I don't want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein later. But we have to. It is so nice to have the workspace clean. I brought in a vacuum cleaner because they don't vacuum our bay. That was so grody. But I saw all the things that you guys have made us, all the carvings, all of the stained glass, the artwork. God, the bobbleheads.
There's a lot of it.
You guys are amazing. I love you for it. Thank you. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. I'm going to ask you a question. If cheating got you a victory that you thought was very important, how would you feel about that? Would you be able to do that? Would you be able to cheat in order to win? And a lot of people are like, well, it depends on what we're competing for. Welcome back, you guys, to the Wendy Bell radio program, wendybellradio.com. How far would you go? Because I wouldn't. And maybe that sounds naive because we have been cheated against forever. And it seems like the people in Congress have no problem with it whatsoever. I can't do that. I can't do that. And what we're being asked to do right now is forget what we've all gone through. And they're trying desperately to blame everything on this administration. It's gotten already so wearisome, and it's only been, 13 months? No matter what else you hear today, passing the SAVE Act, in my mind, is the biggest story. It's the biggest idea. That Senator Susan Collins from Maine, who is staunchly with Lisa Murkowski as one of the utmost rhino spoil sports, whose Liberty score was down into the 20s, among the worst out there for the Republican Party. She's going to co-sponsor this SAVE Act. Because they said to her, she didn't even know what it really meant. She's like, she thought it meant that every single time you went to the polls, you had to show proof of citizenship and proof of identification. And it's like, no. There was never any discussion of that. In order to register to vote, you should have to provide your citizenship proof. Don't you think so? I do. I don't think that's complicated. There's a record of all of us. And if there's not a record of you, you have ample time to get one. Unless, of course, you're an illegal alien who expects to slide into the country and vote without that. So Susan Collins is like, okay, now I'm with you. So now it's bouncing from the House to the Senate. They've got 51 votes, apparently. They need 60. The only way this thing is going to go, and we're going to actually get this thing passed so that we can get down to the basics of reclaiming our elections, is if they do that standing filibuster where they go in and they're like, look, we're just going to bloviate. We're going to talk. You guys want to talk? Talk. Let's go. You want 3 days to bloviate about this? That's fine. Because at the end, we're going to vote. We're going to vote for this, and it's going to become the law of the land. Of course, that is a huge problem on the left. Did you hear the Senate hearing on voting irregularities? I bet you didn't. We did. It was 5 years ago. 2020. It was December, in fact. This is a little review, if you will, about why it's so important that we stay focused on what matters. And what matters is that nobody out there steals your vote. Look, they're already stealing money, right? They're fleecing us. And the Democrats and rhinos are allowing it to happen. But this is the hill worth dying on. This is where it stops. No more cheating. I want you to hear this gentleman. His name is James Troupis. And Jim Troupis is an attorney, and he was commissioned basically in 2020 after the election, after a lot of things were screwy, to go in and do a dive over the numbers. What happened? Right? Who did what? What happened to the machines? What kind of voters were voting? How did you cross-reference all this information? What kind of anomalies did you find? Because it just so happened that in 2020, lo and behold, all of the swing states that Donald Trump ended up winning in November of 2024, we were told after they stopped counting and then they restarted and then they stopped again. And they're like, oh, wait, we're going to restart. Oh, they were stopped, right? As they added all of the ballots so Joe Biden could finally eke out a win. I'm going to remind you, this is a state, Wisconsin, in which Joe Biden allegedly won by just 20,682 votes. James Troupis, the attorney, talks about the review of Wisconsin's 2020 absentee ballots and how many of their investigations, how many paths proved these ballots in droves were bogus. Listen.
In Wisconsin, we just completed a recount. We had more than 2,500 volunteers, or probably more than 1,000 volunteers for the Biden campaign as well. Uniquely, we are able to examine actual envelopes that contain the ballots that are submitted by absentee voters. This allowed us to identify by person, by address, by ward. It's not conspiracy. The real names are in the record. And here's what we found. We found that there were incomplete and altered certificates. These are the certificates on the front of the envelopes that have to be exactly done correctly under our law. If not, those results may not be counted. How many of those? More than 3,000 of those identified by person were nonetheless counted, even though they are clearly invalid under the law. A second category. Initials of clerks are placed on all of those envelopes. Why? Because the clerk identifies it having been properly received and identification is provided. That's the check in advance of the election. What did we find? More than 2,000 of those ballots in Dane and Milwaukee County had no initials at all, but nonetheless, they got counted. We also have special laws in Wisconsin with regard to voting in advance. We do not allow advance voting. We allow in-person and other voting as absentees. So anything before Election Day is under our absentee rules. What did the city of Madison do? They created a system where people could arrive at a park, hand in their ballots in envelopes 5 weeks before the election. They also created boxes. No controls at all, just boxes on corners that you could throw the ballot in. No attempt at all. And our statutes explicitly say there are only 2 ways to submit an absentee ballot: in person or delivery to the clerk's office. That's it. Nothing else is allowed. And yet the city of Madison, we had 17,271 ballots in this category that we identified. There are tens of thousands more because they commingled the ballots afterwards, so we couldn't identify each one that may have been improperly cast. Then we have an interesting category called indefinitely confined. These are people which the statute, I read from the statute, by age, physical illness, or infirmity, or are disabled indefinitely. Among those claiming this status, so they don't have to provide any identification, among those claiming this status is one of the electors for Joe Biden. Who said, I can't get to the polls. We have poll workers who claimed it. We have people who went to protests, people who had weddings, people who had vacations. All claimed this status, I can't get to the polls, so they were able to vote without identification. There were 28,395 people we explicitly identified. Finally, there are other categories in which as much as 170,000 other ballots were submitted without any application. In fact, they considered the certification envelope the application, though a separate application is required by law. 3 million people properly voted in the state of Wisconsin. More than 200,000 identified during this recount did not. But those votes got counted. And our statute says they should not have been. That, in our view, is a taint on our election in Wisconsin. Thank you.
Yeah, see, that's not strong enough, sir. I mean, that is a taint, yes. That's called theft. That's called a felony, okay? That's breaking the law. That is one of the most egregious offenses that's possible, save bodily injury or murder, okay? Stealing from other people their right to choose their elected representative. Just listening to what that gentleman said, I added up the numbers. Right? And I rounded down 232,000 people. How many of them actually exist? We don't know because nobody had to verify signatures. And later in the broadcast, my friends, we're going to take you to Detroit, where the same freaking thing happened. Look, anybody out there, if you're a liberal, even if you're a conservative, if you don't believe that 2020 was jacked inside and out, upside and down, I don't know what I have to do to wake you up, because it should offend you. It should offend you if it's somebody from your party as much, if not more, than it should offend you from somebody from another party. Nevertheless, 232,000 ballots that never should have been counted, that were rendered illegal by their own laws in Wisconsin. Well, it was a global pandemic. Well, it was extraordinary times. Oh, well, it's a top secret investigation. Well, that's classified. Oh, we can't redact that. Oh, it's on a need to know basis. No. I'm going to say two very broad words. Suck it. No. 232 at a state, Wisconsin, that needed 20,000 votes for Joe Biden to be the winner. When all the votes are counted, Joe Biden's going to win. That was so weird. Josh Shapiro, then Attorney General of Pennsylvania. It was such a peculiar thing to say. And then every single one of these cities where there have been problems, it's almost like it's all connected. We're all in this together. Think about how many people had to be quiet. Think about the bullying and the blackmail. Think about the whole tapestry of suck that had to be executed for this to happen. All of the votes, the switching in real time, connecting to people in Serbia, that happens all the time, right? Wrong. All of it. Then the people, look. History will absolutely go back and reflect what happened. But there damn well better be a monster asterisk next to 2020 election, like next to Joe Biden's name, where it doesn't say former senator, vice president, and president. It just says scumbag, right? Dirtbag, disgrace, whatever it is. I want to give you a brief update. You guys remember on Friday I was talking to you about that female wrestler, teenager? She was wrestling and she thought she was wrestling another young woman. And in fact, no, it was a transgender kid wrestling her who sexually violated her on the mat with his fingers. And yet when she blew the whistle to her principal, her coaches, and the athletic director, they sat on it for 2 months. Well, Houston, it's actually getting investigated now. Isn't that nice? Finally, what did it take? Oh, I don't know. Maybe conservative nothings like you and me to talk about it, to fire up somebody's. When we come back, you guys, on the Wendy Bell radio program, you know, the online news organizations, right? The Yahoo News, Apple News, Google News, MSN, whatever shows up on your work laptop, desktop, right? How much do they give you that's biased information? How much of it is down the line? Is it pretty even? Oh my gosh. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Uh-oh. Are you hurting my feelings?
Yeah.
That's not very friendly. Mm-hmm. Wow.
In January.
So I guess I don't understand what that means. Oh, I beg your pardon. That's interesting. That's terrible. No, duh. Well, honestly, and it's that question. I was going to ask you that question. In all seriousness, tell me one thing the Democrats have done well. Tell me one thing that they're for that you agree with. One. As you're monitoring that, I'm going to tell you guys about Texas Bullion Exchange. WendyLovesGold.com. And I've gotten some wonderful testimonials from you guys who are like, you know what? This is a very interesting time to be in metal, to be thinking about gold and silver and platinum and palladium. And I've really enjoyed my interactions with Texas Bullion Exchange. WendyLovesGold.com. I think the whole thing there is, when somebody is salesy, that whole Rumble wallet thing. I want you to know about this option, but I'm not saying, hey, go there right now and give me money. That's not what I'm saying. You know when somebody wants to share something with you because they're geeked about it, and when there's like a hard sale drive at the end of it, right? That's not Texas Bullion Exchange. They're legitimately excited to share with you their knowledge and to open up what could be a very enjoyable, almost like a collection. It's fun to collect precious metals, silver and gold coins, the Trump coins that are exclusive to wendylovesgold.com, Texas Bullion Exchange. Gold, silver, platinum, palladium. Check them out. I haven't checked the price of silver today. Let me see. It's down. This might be it, guys. wendylovesgold.com, 855-927-5557. They're fantastic. They're the real deal. Yeah, it's down.
And that's said by other people.
What?
That's just not you. That they're the real deal.
Oh. I love it.
Someone said I saw it before, that they have the ghost bed pillows. I said they're fantastic.
I'm super geeked about ghost bed. So I'm going to walk you through the whole process from it arriving. I mean, they send you tracking, like everything's easy. It's no fuss, no frills. I love it. 1.94. Look at you guys. 5,600 high. Let's go. 200, 2,000 rumbles. Come on. Actually, 225. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah. X is still like, why? That female wrestler who says she was violated by a transgender dude she didn't even know she was competing against. Like, how many times do we have to put literally people on the mat in an environment, in a situation that is ridiculous? There is no world in which a boy should be wrestling a girl. Please, that is idiotic. And then for the female wrestler to be violated vaginally by the guy, viciously and painfully, and for the school, the principal, the athletic director, the coach to do nothing, so that the Department of Education has to get involved. Don't tell us that you're for victims. Don't tell us you're for what's right. Don't tell us you're for women. Don't tell us you're for the little guy. Don't tell us you're for safety or compassion or what's right. If you're a Democrat and you don't see what the hell is going on because your side is normalized crazy, I don't know how I can get through to you. I don't know. You must be part of that 30% that's not going to be saved. Right? You know, I have a friend who swears to me she follows the news. I said, well, where do you follow it? She's like, well, I don't go home and watch the news. I'm like, I don't either. I said, so you get it online. Well, where do you get it? She says, well, it's interesting because at the hospital or the medical clinic that I work, my computer, my desktop, well, the homepage is MSN. I'm like, so you think that you're getting a good smattering of headlines? And she's like, yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty fair. Seems pretty fair. I'm like, no, in fact, no, it's not. And the Daily Wire just put out this article, which I think is interesting. Is this a huge surprise to you? But no, because you know. And once you know, you can't unknow how much they lie and how much they propagandize and steer a narrative that's untrue. So here's your headline. The love affair continues. Study shows Big Four news apps still heart left-wing media. Looking at 106 days of data since Halloween, Google News promoted 1,757 stories. Almost 70% came from left-leaning outlets. And you're like, well, the other 30% went to the right. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Here we go. You ready? Imagine it's Valentine's Day at Silicon Valley Middle School. The cafeteria is covered in construction paper hearts. Everyone pretends not to care while caring very much. And the most popular kids, the one who decide who's cool, who eats lunch alone and who gets stuffed into lockers, are quietly deciding who deserves a Valentine and who gets the dreaded, sorry, we're just friends. Well, now swap out the middle schoolers for Apple News, Google News, Microsoft's MSN, and Yahoo News, and you have a pretty good picture of today's media ecosystem. But instead of candy grams, these platforms hand out something far more valuable: visibility, traffic, and perceived legitimacy. Bing, 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 bing. Algorithms play matchmaker. Editorial choices determine who gets asked to the dance, who goes stag, and who doesn't even get through the door. Pattern is pretty hard to ignore. Research from the Media Research Center, examining the big four news apps, found that left-leaning outlets dominate coverage while right-leaning outlets are routinely sidelined or completely buried. Start with Google News, the alpha dog at the lunch table. Google appears especially fond of the New York Times, not a casual acquaintance, but the kind of devotion that fills a notebook margin with hearts. Between Halloween and Valentine's Day, Google featured about twice as many New York Times stories as its next most featured outlets, CNN and the BBC, because Google News's feed appears by default on millions of Android and Samsung devices. That preference carries enormous national reach. Looking at 106 days of data since Halloween, Google News promoted 1,757 stories, almost 70%, as I told you, came from left-leaning outlets, 29% from centrist sources. I don't know who that is. Is that News Nation? I don't know. Just 2% came from right-leaning media. Isn't that interesting? Huh. Like Google, Apple News also has a bestie from the print world. The Washington Post receives frequent top placement and prominent visibility. Since Halloween, Apple has featured the Post 109 times. Other regulars in Apple's rotation include NBC News, Reuters, and the Associated Press. Overall, of all sides-related outlets, Apple News featured 75% left-leaning outlets, 25% centrist outlets, and zero right-leaning outlets in the period studied. Zero is on purpose. Zero means being locked out of the dance. Zero is indefensible. Next comes Microsoft's MSN. My friend thinks this is very inclusive, right? Their reach comes from its enormous footprint on desktop computers. Bing, bing, bing. While its distribution is not quite as disturbing as Apple's or Google's, its preferences are still clear. MSN is more smitten with Newsweek, publishing 316 Newsweek stories between Halloween and Valentine's Day. Their mix included about 10% of right-leaning outlets and 37% centrist outlets. 53% are all left-leaning. Like, there's not an airport or a cab or a billboard or a radio station or a TV network that's not giving you lugubriously stunning, biased news. And then there's us. I'm unabashedly biased. It's all conservative because I think everybody else sucks. And I know that I'm right? So this is what you're up against. This is why people say the SAFE Act is going to make it hard for married women to vote. And you're like, really? Explain that one to me. Oh, yeah, that's right. And they can't. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's talk about Marco Rubio. Who's liking this cat for president? They've got Gavin Newsom and freaking Kamala and Pete Buttigieg. I'd be sweating if I was a lefty. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Zero. Like, zero. Zero is just a big fungu. It's a giant fungu. That's indefensible. And you call yourself news. Got it. Perfect. All right. What do I want to talk about? Blood Flow 7. So Brock was there when I gave it to Jolene. What did she say? She had already subscribed, but she's like, I'll take that. And then Tom, your brother, was like, I'm going to take that Alpha Gold Male. And I was like, uh-huh. And then they were both like, tell me about the GLP-1. And I'll tell you guys about that later. If you're new, and I know some of you every single day are, if I tell you about a product like a supplement, I take it. I take it or Brock takes it. And we speak from experience. And we have said no joy to a couple of them because I didn't really get the vibe. I didn't really feel it. I didn't think it was worth it. This is the best $30 of my month. And It's Wendy 30 for 30% off that, which is crazy. Blood Flow 7, the key ingredient in this little bad boy capsule is nitric oxide. Take it. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels, opens up your arteries for increased blood flow, which you notice. I noticed in about 2 to 3 days. Some people say it takes them a week, maybe 10 days. Depends on your body. But whether you're out as a lumberjack and you're, you've got an axe in your hand and you're doing manual labor, or you're vacuuming and moving laundry around, it doesn't matter. You feel it. You have more strength. You have more stamina. You have more ability. You don't quit. You don't crash. There's no wall you hit and collapse. And at the end of the day, when it is time for sleep, you sleep like a boulder. Wendy Bell or bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Wendy 30 is your promo code. I love this stuff. Look for the men's version. Same site, Alpha Gold Male. If you're a couple and you want to try them, they have a bundle. Blood Flow 7 and Alpha Gold Male together at a discount. Love this company. When they decide that they don't love me anymore, I'm going to be absolutely heartbroken. Because I'm still paying for it. I mean, I'm still getting it. We subscribe to it. I paid to get it, right? It's not like gimme free. I'm like, no. We never want to run out. Ever. That's how I feel about it. Really?
Yeah.
New open alert. Are you familiar with it?
No.
Uh-oh. Do we trust Kelly? I do.
Well, it makes one of us. I texted you.
Oh. I can't see that, so I'll open it up here.
Really?
Not on my phone. It's just like super small. Yeah, and it doesn't come up. Oh, here we go. I love all these little polling tidbits. Most important issues. Wow, that's huge.
That might be what they're scared about. Because if you look at this poll, and you see, so Donald Trump's one, it's economy, immigration, Donald Trump is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th down. 6th. So
I don't understand what you just said.
So are people like really outraged about Donald Trump if he's the 6th reason you're voting?
Oh. What do you consider to be the most important political issue right now? It's interesting that our elections is not even in the top. It's not even listed. It's not even listed. And I'd be like, did you choose that as an option or no? You don't want us to have that as an option?
That's the way I took it. You got to love how climate change, I'll just give, is it 1%? Even Jeffrey Epstein's not polling. Like, that's the thing. We talked this morning, and it's just so gross. And all they're doing is putting so much crap out there that you don't know what to believe, what's true, what's not true. And if half of it's true, that's not okay.
I want to show you guys this video of them so badly, of Ryan and Allie, but I can't, not without his approval. It's just the sweetest thing. That kept me all weekend. That kept me going all weekend.
It was nice.
Just to see how many people ever feel that way.
They're just purely happy to see.
How many people feel like that? Like they have a number one fan. I mean, who knows what it could lead to? I'm not even worried about that. But you're just safe and loved and adored by somebody.
This may be this may come out wrong, but it's meant to be nice. It's like when you come home and your dog goes nuts.
Mm.
And he's wagging his tail and he's just happy to see. That's her reaction.
Yeah.
It was just pure happiness. Like,
so she's just sort of lying there like this, and the light in the room, she's in the dark.
yeah.
And all you can see is because of the light of the phone. And then when he's walking, she's like, oh, hi.
She went from sad
she's like this.
to
She's
happy
like,
like that.
she's like, hi. And he went, hey. And then he pushed his button, and you could still see her face, and his bottom switched. And you see him outside of her sorority house. And she goes, and then like
Didn't care about makeup.
jumps up, puts on her glasses, and is like, it was just, some things can't be fiddled with. You can't engineer that. You can't
fake pretend.
You can't make that in a test tube. You can't put that in a lab.
No, you can't fake it either.
You know, it was just, I love her.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that
U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have that.
this is of course a very long-standing
And the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and
I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point, and we want to make sure that
our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as,
and for that question to even arise.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Hour number 2, wendybellradio.com. Also get the podcast. Same name. Get it onto your phone. We've got 7 million downloads and growing. Love having you here. So you just heard from AOC. She's asked about the U.S. to consider boots on the ground to defend Taiwan from China. And she gave a Kamala word salad vacuous. I'm like, it's not looking good for the Democrats in terms of who are you going to have in 2028? Like, who's going to be your poster child? We've got a bench. We have a bench. Like, I think Marco Rubio, the more I see, the more I hear, the more I pay attention, the more I enjoy everything about our Secretary of State. Perhaps the best statesman in my lifetime. And we're going to talk about his address to this Munich Security Conference in just a minute. But I wanted to drop this on you. Interactive polls shows who's dominating the Democratic primary field. Who do you guys think it is? Anybody new? Who are the Democrats horny to get out there, right? Like, I cannot wait. Oh, my God. I'm counting down. Let's go. Kamala Harris. She's leading the pack at 38%. I want you to think about that. 38. Gavin Newsom is at 13%. And then it's just a total free-for-all shite show after that, with Not Sure coming in at 17%, which beats Gavin Newsom, okay? More people are not sure than they are sure that maybe Gavin sort of, kind of, probably not. And then who are the other names? Buttigieg, Shapiro, Kelly. Really? Pritzker, Walls? Oh, please. Please, God. Yes. Can we please have that happen? Okay. That's like when the Playboy bunny comes through the window of Animal House and the little boy is sitting there and he's like, thank you, God. Yes, that would be our gift. That would be the Playboy bunny for 2028. Okay, I want to get to Marco Rubio. He there's a lot of trepidation in Europe with the president saying we're going to do these tariffs. He's talking about NATO. He's trying to put the squeeze on, Ukraine and Russia, end the war, stop people dying. Well, let's get this party started. Stop people dying. Pay your fair share. Defend your own sovereignty, and then join with the United States, European allies, and join with us. And let's go realize our wildest dreams together. Let's go innovate. Let's go build. Let's create. Let's go into the next chapter, this golden era together. And the president sends Marco Rubio to this Munich security conference. And this is a high-level forum, so you can imagine governments and militaries, experts, all meeting to discuss and manage international security challenges. And they're talking about it instead of having a fight about it, which makes sense. So in Munich, Secretary of State Marco Rubio managed to bury the old order, define the new era in geopolitics in which American allies really have to be true partners, not dependents. And he manages to get a standing ovation. We selected about 3.5, almost 4 minutes of some of the best of what he said. This is what I wish we were talking about today. Not Jeffrey Epstein, right? Not gay people having a parade at Disney, but this. Listen.
For 5 centuries before the end of the Second World War, the West had been expanding. Its missionaries, its pilgrims, its soldiers, its explorers pouring out from its shores to cross oceans, settle new continents, build vast empires extending out across the globe. But in 1945, for the first time since the age of Columbus, it was contracting. Europe was in ruins. Half of it lived behind an Iron Curtain, and the rest looked like it would soon follow. The great Western empires had entered into terminal decline, accelerated by godless communist revolutions and by anti-colonial uprisings that would transform the world and drape the red hammer and sickle across vast swaths of the map in the years to come. Against that backdrop, then as now, many came to believe that the West's age of dominance had come to an end, and that our future was destined to be a faint and feeble echo of our past. But together, our predecessors recognized that decline was a choice, and it was a choice they refused to make. This is what we did together once before, and this is what President Trump and the United States want to do again now, together with you. And this is why we do not want our allies to be weak, because that makes us weaker. We want allies who can defend themselves so that no adversary will ever be tempted to test our collective strength. This is why we do not want our allies to be shackled by guilt and shame. We want allies who are proud of their culture and of their heritage, who understand that we are heirs to the same great and noble civilization, and who together with us are willing and able to defend it. And this is why we do not want allies to rationalize the broken status quo rather than reckon with what is necessary to fix it. For we in America have no interest in being polite and orderly caretakers of the West's managed decline. We do not seek to separate, but to revitalize an old friendship and renew the greatest civilization in human history. What we want is a reinvigorated alliance that recognizes that what has ailed our societies is not just a set of bad policies, but a malaise of hopelessness and complacency. An alliance the alliance that we want is one that is not paralyzed into inaction by fear. Fear of climate change, fear of war, fear of technology. Instead, we want an alliance that boldly races into the future. And the only fear we have is the fear of the shame of not leaving our nations prouder, stronger, and wealthier for our children. An alliance ready to defend our people, to safeguard our interests, and to preserve the freedom of action that allows us to shape our own destiny. Not one that exists to operate a global welfare state and atone for the purported sins of past generations. An alliance that does not allow its power to be outsourced, constrained, or subordinated to systems beyond its control. one that does not depend on others for the critical necessities of its national life, and one that does not maintain the polite pretense that our way of life is just one among many, and that asks for permission before it acts. And above all, an alliance based on the recognition that we, the West, have inherited together. What we have inherited together is something that is unique and distinctive and irreplaceable.
And he says, join us. This isn't the administration of some king. This isn't some dictator who wants to steamroll the rest of the planet and carve everybody out. This isn't somebody who's going to do it alone. He wants Europe with us. He wants them to stop with the woke nonsense that is destroying so many countries. And he's saying, look, we cannot be everybody's bodyguard. We are not everybody's warrior any more than we are the universe's piggy bank. And that needs to be known so those activities and expectations can stop. We want you to be strong. We came from you. America was born of Europe. We know our roots, so join with us. It's powerful. The whole thing. Listen to the whole thing. It's 22 minutes. It is worth it today if you want to feel positive about the people in charge of this country that you voted for smartly. Now, for some reason, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Gretchen Whitmer are there. And they got absolutely, it was like a roundhouse here. AOC couldn't answer a basic question about, what do you think? Would America consider putting soldiers and defending Taiwan if China gets a little too horny for that? And this is her answer. Oh boy, this is not a presidential contender. This is a bartender. That's not even nice to say because bartenders are very bright. Listen.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is of course a very longstanding policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point. And we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Yeah, I agree. And I know we're going to get a little fat on time here, but Gretchen Whitmer, who needs to step away from whatever plastic surgeon, has stretched her face like a freaking tarp. It is tragic, sweetheart. Knock it off. This is her answer, right? This is the 2028 presidential swing and miss. The war in Ukraine has been going on for 4 years, but she can't answer a simple question about what victory for Ukraine would be like.
On Ukraine, what does victory look like?
Ambassador? No, please. I'd love to hear your answer.
It is. The two that I am on the panel with are much more steeped in foreign policy than a governor is. But I do think that Ukraine's independence, keeping their landmass, and having the support of all the allies, I think is the goal from my vantage point. Go ahead, Ambassador, do a better job.
Oh my Lord! Right? Honest to goodness, you can't make it up. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, while Democrats in Minnesota protest ICE. Did you hear what Tom Homan's agency, the Borders Are Found in Minneapolis? Oh, yeah, 3,300 missing kids. Oh, my. The story. So good. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I'm just going to say, you guys, that's scary as stones. Like, I don't want to get older either. But for heaven's sakes, it's terrible. She looks terrible.
She looks like the Joker.
She looks scary. Like, I'd rather be 55 than freaky freak. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's such a bummer. Okay. Dr. Gundry is not. Dr. Gundry, MCT Wellness. This is what I drink every single day. This is what gets me through hard workouts at the gym and then doesn't make me famished for the next several hours. Dr. Gundry identified as he was trying to lose weight. He had put on quite a few pounds and he wanted to lose almost as much as 80 pounds. Like, this guy's he's not that big. And you're like, where did you put it on? And he put together this drink mix. So look, you're already drinking water. So you put a scoop of this in your drink, in your water, shake it up, add some ice, and enjoy. By the way, by itself, it did nothing for you, would be delicious. You'd be like, that's very tasty. It's sweet with a little bit of tang. So it's really, really yummy. But it also crushes your appetite for 5 hours. So you're like, I'm not starving. I don't need to eat. And simultaneously triggers a reaction inside of your body, flips a switch legit in your body so that your body will dump unnecessary calories that it's kind of hanging on to. I love it. I have been drinking this for a year and a half, maybe year and a half. Will not go a day without it. Love it. Drink it on the weekends too. Whenever we're out and about, I always take this with me and I have this with some collagen in it. And you're just not hungry. This is not for the casual weight loss, seeker. This isn't like 5 or 6 pounds you want to lose. You want to lose 50, 60, 80 pounds? Go to thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. I think you will very much enjoy it. Very much. And some of the results we've heard from people have been nothing short of fantastic. So I had a blob. I have these slide-on leather, like suede shoes that are kind of comfortable for my foot. That sucks. And I got some stain on one of them, driving me crazy. So it looks like grease, like maybe I was cooking and it went. And so I was like, and so I took my knockout and I sprayed it on it today, disinfectwithsniper.com. And wouldn't you know, it didn't take out the stain, but it cleaned everything else. So now you can tell the stain is worse. Like it took out all of the stains from the surrounding suede and it left it beautiful. I'm like, is there anything this stuff doesn't do? It's crazy. Like I have to go clean all of the shoe now because it looks brand new. Disinfectwithsniper.com, disinfectwithsniper.com, disinfectwithsniper.com. We're putting up Brock's flag today.
Are we?
Yeah. I have it right here. I brought tape. You need like strong double-sided tape or like I'm going to tell you, you're going to fall for this. You're going to fall for this drink. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. All right, let's get this story up for you guys. And this is one of those stories none of these news networks will cover. Computers at work, and your home screen is one of these news sites: Apple News, Google News, Yahoo News, MSN. You're getting indoctrinated and propagandized even without paying attention. Pay attention to the articles. Pay attention to the sources that pop up. That's not news. That's cherry-picked narrative driving because it's so curious that none of those sites is blasting today on your desktop. Tom Homan says ICE found 3,364 missing unaccompanied alien children. Children the last administration lost and weren't even looking for. That is huge. Yeah, it's so interesting to me that the left wants you to care for and have an emotional feeling for children when they want to change their genders, right? But they don't want to be compassionate for the children who they invite here and then purposefully lose and then pay no attention to and never try to find. That's not a story worth covering. I'm sorry. I want you to hear Tom Homan out of his mouth. The president, he says, is finding trafficked children all over the world, all over the country, rather, who the Biden administration brought in from all over the world. This is your headline.
The last administration, over 500,000 children smuggled in this country, released to unvetted sponsors. They lost track of 300,000 of them. President Trump has already found 145,000 of them. In Minnesota alone, over 3,300 missing children we found that the last administration wasn't even looking for.
I'm looking at a CBS News story that is featuring that very soundbite you heard. And that's the only thing they say. They then go on to fact check the information. A federal report found that more than 320,000 children either failed to appear for their immigration hearings or didn't receive a notice to appear in court. It does not say the children were lost. Essentially, they're unaccounted for. Hey, Brock, if your child wandered away from home, would it matter to you if they were lost or unaccounted for?
I would be the same thing.
Absolutely panicked, freaking out, losing your ever-loving mind. But we've got CBS here. We're like, well, it's really not 320,000. It's more like 291,000. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. We were off by 30,000. Well, Donald Trump says, take all of those numbers and blow them out. And he says it's more like 500,000. 500,000 of the world's children. See, this CBS story or the MSN story that appears on your work desktop doesn't dive into the insanity that one child missing is one too many. That's a fact. I want you to hear Abby Phillip over at CNN. Listen to her try to tell Lydia Moynihan from the New York Post that her numbers are wrong.
I think a lot of that has to do with what the media chooses to focus on. And one thing that Tom Homan highlighted today is that in Minnesota, they have found 3,364 children that the Biden administration lost. And instead, 93% of the media coverage has been negative on ICE, according to the Media Research Center.
I know Tom Homan has been big on this lost children thing, but the idea that these children were lost or missing has never been true. Some of them were released into the custody of relatives or other caretakers, which is part of the process over many years.
They often were released to adults who weren't verified.
Listen, all I'm saying is that his characterization of them as being lost has never been accurate. And it wasn't accurate when he started saying it a year ago. It's still not accurate today.
I have off-color things that I would be fined if I said. Suffice to say that no wonder CNN has lost 2/3 of their viewers since 2016. That is shameful. Shameful. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program. Oh my. The DOJ drops all of the Epstein files. What is it exactly that you and I are supposed to be focused on? Let's go there next. Isn't that something? That's not really what's going on. Oh, Abby, do tell. Because you're investigating so much, you've been leaving the confines of your New York City studio. You've been doing your own research, kind of like AOC and Gretchen Whitmer, who couldn't show you where freaking Ukraine was on a map, let alone talk about the reality of boots on the ground in freaking Taiwan or whether, I don't know, Ukraine, what victory looks like. I'm going to go people not dying anymore. Is that a hard ask for you? What's victory on the ground look like? Well, probably saving some of its land that it was upset about, probably getting some, I don't know, open door. Maybe you guys can get into NATO. No. And people not dying anymore. And the United States helping them rebuild.
How about
That wasn't complicated.
Why are either one of them there?
I don't know. Is it point counterpoint?
Have
if
we
you're
lost the one? You're a governor, Gretchen Whitmer,
and you're obviously a ninny.
2, AOC is supposed to represent the people in her district. Why do I care what her global?
It was any more than you gave a rat's ass about what Pete Buttigieg thought.
And
You're absolutely inconsequential to me. You do not matter to me.
When you saw that clip, did you see that questionnaires face? She was like, that's why I had to play the "We're All Now Dumber." It was that soundbite from Billy Madison.
If you can't think on your feet, if you can't knowledgeably and credibly speak from the heart about stuff, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have briefings, you have knowledge, you know what's going on, you know the death toll, you know what's happening, you know what's at stake.
What's victory? People not dying.
That's it.
War being over. Rebuilding.
I'm going to go with that's it. Yeah. How about allowing those people to get their freaking lives back?
How about going into China? To China going into Taiwan? How about no? That's not an option. And that's not a United States thing. That's a world thing. The world doesn't want that. If she was my bartender, I'd leave.
Right? She better make it freaking good.
It better be the best drink I ever had.
It's reposado on steroids is what I want with a...
I don't even know what that is.
That's a nice kind of tequila. Okay.
It's a what?
Tequila. Let me tell you about the Simkovich. I like tequila. The Simkovich Concussion Institute. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. You know, there aren't that many people who I would just want their contact information so I didn't forget. Doc Simkovich is one of those people. And what he does to help people who've suffered debilitating traumatic brain injuries is nothing short of, it's like a miracle to watch, but it's not. It is based in science. And Dr. Simkovich has dedicated his professional career to this one thing. And that is to be able to identify with a very extensive intake form and also an MRI and a physical manipulation of your soft palate and various parts of your face and your shoulder and your neck, even pulling on your ears, moving your jaw, pushing things inside of your mouth. He moves things around that traumatic brain injury gets out of whack, and you don't even know it, but he can feel it because he knows what everything is supposed to be like. And they say, hey, when you come to us, give us 4 days. You might not need all 4, but we're going to send you home healed at the end of that. It's not just a 1 hour. Okay, good luck. We're going to have you for 4 hours. And you're not going to go anywhere. You're just going to hang with us for 4 hours and we're going to fix you. And then tomorrow you're going to come back and we're going to do maybe 3.5 hours. And then maybe the third day is 2. And then the fourth day, have a good life. 412-366-3700. It's crazy. 412-366-3700. It's crazy because it works. I love them. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. I'm making my list for Dan Ireland, by the way. You know, if you're going to have somebody in your house who's an electrician, you better get all of it taken care of, right? So the light in the basement, the ceiling fan in the kitchen. I got a problem upstairs in my bedroom, right? The boys are like, I don't think this outlet works anymore. I'm like, all right, bad. Everything. Landscape lights. Go Dan. If you guys if you live in Pittsburgh and you don't have a great electrician, you don't have a great contractor who deals with home exterior remodeling, roofing, soffit, fascia, you do now. IrelandContracting.com. They're the best. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, the best. And like I said, if you need electrical work, you're going to love this young man. You're going to trust this young man. He's great. Dan Ireland. Ask for him. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com.
Hashtag keep Dan busy.
Ugh. When do we go get our hairs did? Look at that. I'm starting to look like Brock.
Wow.
I think I could look.
That is really hurtful.
The weekend was the Department of Justice complying with the law. Donald Trump signed it. Release all of the stuff. Release all of this stuff. Give everybody what they want, these Epstein files. Give them the emails. Give them the pictures. Give them the photographs. Give them the innuendo. Give them the direct evidence. You do with it what you want. And I have to ask, like, at the end of the day, what am I going to get out of that? What are you going to get out of that? Because you're not going to be able to put that genie back in the bottle. And it's shocking to say this, that all of the wild right-wing wacko 4chan conspiracy theories, when you're like, okay, right. And they cheated in 2020. And now you're like, oh boy. It's like, it's all right. It's all true. And there's some things I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I want to read you this. This is an interesting take by Gateway Pundit. Pam Bondi announces all Epstein-related materials released. Pelosi, Obama, Newsom, Biden, and other Democrats named in the files. Here is the complete list of 300-plus individuals. Look, sitting here and talking about the names, I don't know what any of these individuals did. I'm not here to judge anyone, because I think everybody is gross and basically I hate everyone. And that sounds terrible to say that, but don't you kind of get to that point where your ability to process how many people do vile, reprehensible, evil things, and that it could possibly shake your faith to its core? I don't think I want to do that today. So here's what they take from this. And this, of course, it's a lot of smokescreen stuff to cover from the election fraud that President Trump is pushing, the stories to come back, the stories from 2020 that got silenced by all the same MSN, Yahoo News, Apple News that silence conservative stories, right? Attorney General Pam Bondi has officially transmitted to Congress the Department of Justice's Section 3 report under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, confirming that the DOJ has now released all Epstein-related materials in its possession. The February 14th, 2026 report addressed to Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley, Ranking Member Dick Durbin, House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan, Ranking Member Jamie Raskin, confirms that the department has released all of the files. In accordance with the requirements of the act, blah, 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 here you go. I don't want to know who's... I can't even say it. Can't even say it. I don't want to know. Well, let's look at this, because there are names and there are lists and there are people here, full names. Okay, let's go through some of these. Woody Allen, not surprising. You know, whatever. Gloria Allred, Julian Assange. I'll just give you names that we all know. Alec Baldwin, Steve Bannon, Ehud Barak, Bill Barr, Xavier Becerra, Jeff Bezos, Beyonce. You know, a lot of us have seen these names. We've seen these names circulate, and we were told, no, that's not what's going on. Here's what I have a hard time reconciling. I can read you names. I could tell you, okay, Joe Biden, Jill Biden, Hunter Biden, Ashley Biden. Are you guys all gobsmacked by that? No. Todd Blanche. Well, why is he listed in the Epstein files? Because he's an attorney, he represents Trump, he does his own... I don't know. Anthony Blinken, John Bolton, Dan Bongino, Bono, Cory Booker. So you don't know what to do with this. You don't know what to take away from this. But this didn't just start with the people on this list. There's Elvis Presley, Janis Joplin. Like, if you don't sexualize children, and God, I hope you don't, none of this makes sense to you. But there are other stories that have me really uncomfortable. So, a November 2019 email titled Confidential, Jeffrey Epstein claims that there are 2 foreign girls who were buried in the hills outside of Epstein's New Mexico ranch called Zorro. And in these emails, it says on the orders of Jeffrey Epstein and Madam G, who one could only presume would be Ghislaine, Madam G, alleging that these 2 little girls, or 2 girls, died by strangulation during sex, and that their bodies were discarded somewhere in the area around Epstein's ranch in New Mexico. And then it goes even deeper into satellite imagery of the ranch. Well, here's what this ranch looked like X number of years ago. And now all of a sudden, here's what it looks like, because they've brought in a bunch of dirt. Why? Why would you be bringing in dirt? Are you even able to take yourself there and imagine that there could be human remains, not just in New Mexico, but all over Jeffrey Epstein's island? Right? What do you make of that? What do you do with that? Well, if you're Tim Burchett, who was on Benny Johnson's show yesterday, he's like, I've seen this stuff. I've had to go into a confidential, secured area, the SCIF, where these things are top secret. I've seen things. And you don't want to look, because once you see it, you can't stop unseeing it. Go.
This stuff that is in these files makes all that pale in comparison. And if you're offered an opportunity to view the pictures or read the files, I would seriously consider not doing that.
Yeah.
Because it will haunt you, this stuff that's in there. And here's the problem. The Biden administration, the Obama administration, these files have been out there forever. And I've said this many times. If they had the goods on Trump, you know that the Obama administration / the Biden administration, because it never really changed hands. They would have had that stuff out there. And this stuff just goes so deep, Benny, and it is very disgusting to me. And, it's evil, it's satanic, and it's from the pits of hell, and that's where these people will end up.
Right? I don't want to go there. I don't even want to. It's like having a Ouija board, right? I had one for a while, and then I was like, I just don't even want the idea of darkness coming into my house. A top New Mexico official is calling for an investigation into public land near Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch after a newly released email alleged that 2 foreign girls were buried there. Land Commissioner Stephanie Garcia Richards said she requested an investigation after learning about this 2019 email included in recently released Epstein-related documents. The email, sent to a conservative radio host, claimed that 2 girls were buried on public land leased near the ranch. The act was allegedly done at the direction of Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, who's serving a 20-year federal prison sentence for sex trafficking. It was a very disturbing allegation that came out that could potentially be linked to state land, Garcia Richards said, because I'm the manager of that land. I'm the elected steward of that land. And what occurs there and what the land is used for is of utmost interest and importance to us at the state land office. She said to her knowledge, neither the state land nor Zorro Ranch has ever been searched as part of a criminal investigation. From reviewing historical documents, Garcia says it appears the leased state land may have been used as a buffer around Epstein's ranch. If state land was used for criminal activity, that's definitely something New Mexicans need to know. Those are answers that victims and survivors need to have. So, this brings me back to Tim Burchett is telling us, you don't want to see what's on these files. You don't want to look at that video. You don't want your eyeballs to see. You don't want your wildest, evilest, most awful suspicions to be confirmed. You don't want any of that. And then we have Dan Bongino and Kash Patel telling us, remember that? There was no list. There are no videos. There are no photographs. We have no, it was not a blackmail operation. What is it? And if you came out on the record to the American people and you looked at us in the eyes and you told us that, and now this new evidence that's being released from your own department suggests otherwise, like, where do you go with that? Where are you supposed to be? You're supposed to be exactly where I feel: sick, confused, wondering how it matters to you, wondering how do you stop evil in its tracks? Because this isn't just 2019. It wasn't just 2014. It wasn't just 2008. This has been going on for years. How do you stop it? What do you do with that? Well, this wasn't on my bingo card. This is Joe Scarborough asking Jamie Raskin. Democrats were in charge of the Department of Justice for 4 years between the Trump presidencies. Like, if you guys are trying to beat this as some kind of a cudgel, some kind of a tool, some kind of a weapon against the Trump administration, I'm sorry, but that's not flying. I wasn't expecting that. Listen to the shoddy. Jamie Raskin gave an AOC/Gretchen Whitmer answer. It didn't work. Listen.
Congressman, you could have gotten that from 21 to 25 when Democrats controlled the DOJ. Why? It was a crisis then. It's a crisis now. Why didn't Democrats call for it from 21 to 25?
So, I mean, you'd have to go back and look specifically at particular prosecutorial decisions and what was taking place in terms of the other cases. So I don't know. We could try to reconstruct that record. But the point is that Donald Trump is the one who has led the crusade to say that that Epstein, who was his very close friend, and there's all kinds of pictures of them.
What? Is there not a moment of your rat-think life, Jamie Raskin, that's not chock full of you scooping poo and trying to shovel it down the throats of the American people who are all keenly aware that you suck? You gave a bloviating, meandering, word salad, Kamala even does better answer to a very simple question. Why didn't you use this information or expose it in the 4 years you guys were in charge? Huh. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, if you see something, say something, and you might get a very nice payday. Hear about Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, encouraging whistleblowers with a little payola? Oh my. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. What the hell was that? Well, you'd have to go back and look at the prosecutorial discretion, but it's Donald Trump's fault. Joe, don't get me bogged down in trying to explain my own inadequacies or the failings of my sucky party. It's Donald Trump's fault. That's all you need to know. Oh, okay. That's what you got. So aggravating. I was seeing how long I could stare at Brock through the window and have there be radio silence and have him not be paying attention to me. It was longer than that. So, okay. Huh? Nothing.
My system didn't update. So I have to manually.
That's not good. All right, something healthycell, healthycell.com. I have them sitting here. Immune super boost, joint health and mobility, focus and recall, calm mood, REM sleep, heart and vascular health. Think about that. If you could take a microgel, a little pouch of goo, and it was chock full of supplements that could benefit your cardiovascular system without you being on some kind of a prescription medication, would you not be so joyful? I would. I'm going to show it to you. This is how they come. This is how it comes at healthycell.com/Wendy. You open up the box and there are your little pouches. Take a pouch. This is strawberry extracts, vitamins, and other nutrients, including CoQ10, resveratrol, and vitamin K2 to help maintain normal cholesterol and blood pressure. Imagine if taking this every day, strawberry, and it's like a sweet treat. Like when do you take medicine and you're like, I needed something sweet. That was good. And get like nutrients and supplements and all this stuff that you need to possibly not have to take your medication for cholesterol. How much would you love to get off your cholesterol medication? Or get your blood pressure in check. I would. Healthycell.com/Wendy. That's how easy it is. And then, boom. Look at that. Heart and vascular health. Healthycell.com/Wendy. I think you guys are going to be very, very pleased. Very, very pleased. I love the company. They're very easy to deal with. And the formulations are not expensive. Your first order, I think you get 20% off. So make it a good one. You'll be very pleased with that. Let's see how you guys are doing.
Robert Duvall died.
Oh. 6,000 people. Hello. 300 over on X. Slow start, but we're getting it. Robert Duvall. I liked him probably best. Wasn't he in Godfather?
Godfather.
Yeah, he's my favorite on that. Yeah.
He did that one too, I think. The Lions. This is has Osmond or
Haley Joel Osment?
Yes. Him and another guy took him in.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I can't. Someone will know it.
Or everybody's like, what's Brock talking
someone
about?
know what I'm talking about. What's the name of that movie? Let's go. Secondhand Line. Thank you.
I don't know. I don't know about what you speak.
You never do.
Wow. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Before I give you, I love the smart administration, the cabinet members who all seem to tackle something that's in their wheelhouse. So Chris Wright, Secretary of Energy, guy owned an energy company. Do you think he might be a good guy to have in that position? Yeah. He's pretty good. Scott Bessent, like himself, a gadzillionaire who worked in banking and all this other stuff. Maybe he's a good guy. Yeah. He's a really good guy. Marco Rubio, right? Whose family is from Cuba, who's the ultimate success story, right? Becoming the ultimate diplomat. Is that in his wheelhouse? Totally. 100%. I love this Scott Bessent guy. I love him. I'm going to tell you how he's going to cajole people into becoming whistleblowers, as if they needed any encouragement. Well, the encouragement isn't, we're going to come after you with retribution and revenge. It's, we're going to give you a payday. If you blow the whistle on somebody and there's a fine involved with that somebody, they've got to pay a fine, you're going to get a fat percentage of it. Sounds pretty good to me. Nobody gets charged a daggone thing except the offender. But before we get to that, Interactive Polls has a poll. It says most important issues. This is, let's see, it's usually about 1,000 people polled. Margin of error is what it normally is, 3.5%. And it asked voters, registered voters, What do you think are the most important issues right now? What do you guys think? Number one, the economy. Number one, the economy, 23%. But you know what's important about that? It was 44% back in November. So there's been a drop, a monster drop, almost cut in half the number of people who now say the economy is the most important issue. Immigration, 20%. Politics, 12%. Social issues, 9%. ICE, 8%. Donald Trump, 7%. Climate change, Jeffrey Epstein, 1% and 2%. Nobody's talking about that anymore. Donald Trump, in a matter of 2 months, and this administration has carved the lion's share out of that idea that the economy is something that's terrible. It's changing. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? All right, let's read this about Scott Bessent and what he promises 10 to 30%, a 10 to 30% cut. If you blow the whistle and somebody is found ripping off the system, getting away with millions of dollars, and that person gets fined, you're going to get a percentage of that fine as a payday. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has just declared open season on government waste, fraud, and abuse. The message to the swamp is clear. We're coming for you, and we are paying your colleagues to help us do it. On Friday, the U.S. Department of the Treasury announced the launch of a new whistleblower initiative aimed at rooting out fraud, money laundering, sanctions violations, and abuse of government benefits. As part of the program, the Treasury will establish a dedicated website where whistleblowers can confidentially submit information about financial misconduct and taxpayer-funded fraud operations. Treasury is strengthening the fight against fraud. We launched this website to do it. In a statement, he said the president has been clear that Americans have a right to know that their tax dollars are not being diverted to fund acts of global terror or to fund luxury cars or fraudsters. At Treasury, we follow the money. We did it with the mafia. We have done it with the cartels. We're doing it now with the Somali fraudsters. We are going to offer whistleblower payments to anyone who wants to tell us the who, what, where, when, and how this fraud and money laundering has occurred. And this is where things got serious. He made it clear that this is not just another bureaucratic report it and forget it program. Americans with inside knowledge of fraud will now have a direct financial incentive to expose wrongdoing. We're encouraging whistleblowers who know about fraud, people who are stealing from the American taxpayer, to come forward. At Treasury, we're setting up a website and we will be giving rewards of up to 10 to 30% of the fines that we levy. That means individuals who provide actionable intelligence that leads to successful enforcement actions could walk away with a massive payday, potentially receiving between 10% and 30% of the fines imposed. According to Treasury officials, the initiative will be administered through FinCEN's Office of the Whistleblower and will focus on violations tied to the Bank Secrecy Act, U.S. sanctions programs, and other financial laws critical to protecting the integrity of the American financial system. Can you imagine making a cool $1 million by helping the good guys identify and basically prosecute the bad guys? It's the best. Hour 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is coming up. You know what? You'll never guess. This is a story that will make your blood boil. Has to do with the missing unaccompanied children. Oh boy. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. You know, it's one thing if you're going to spend money on anything, you should be vetted, right? People should be vetted. There should be multiple people vying for the contract. They should have to bid for it. There should be an extensive review of the companies, their backgrounds, right? Their track record. You should get a good deal for the American taxpayer, not something that's exorbitantly overpriced. That's not what we got with the Biden administration when it came to managing the flood of unaccompanied immigrant children across the border. That was when I think Oscar Blue got really rattled when he saw some of the stuff happening to children on the way when he was in the Darien Gap. What are you going to do? Say stop. Just get shot and killed and evaporate in the middle of the jungle. Changed his world.
I might have to go home and watch a Robert Duvall movie.
Is that right?
He's been so many. He was in Gone in 60 Seconds, and you guys will know a lot more than me, probably. He was the guy in Days of Thunder. He's been in so many good movies.
I want to tell you guys, while I have time, Juvenon has a bunch of different products. Now, I don't know when they're going to be telling me that I can start talking to you about them. But this is one of the products. This is something that is wonderful to take in conjunction with Blood Flow 7 if you're exercising. But the one in specific that I think is very interesting, especially for people who want significant weight loss without the uncertainty of weight loss injections. And so Juvenon, bloodflow7.com, and that's how you get to them. Wendy 30, remember that. They offer a product called GLP-1 Gold. GLP-1, that's the hormone in your body that signifies, it tells you when you're full, stops you from eating. And the artificial injection of that with these weight loss drugs is why so many people just literally their appetite crashes. They have to be reminded to eat. And in fact, some people get very nauseous on these medications. And so, of course, you have rapid weight loss. It's kind of a bitch to do it that way, but some people choose that way. GLP-1 Gold by Juvenon at bloodflow7.com/Wendy is different in that it talks to your GLP-1 hormone capacity. And it's like, hey, let's crank that up. We need to crank that up. And it interfaces with that in you, not by forcing some foreign product into your body. So it's extraordinarily beneficial, again, for significant weight loss. GLP-1 Gold, it's part of the Juvenon family. It's part of Blood Flow 7, part of Alpha Gold Male. You can get it by going to bloodflow7.com/Wendy. And the promo for all of their stuff is Wendy 30. Wendy 30. What's going on out there, Brock? How are you? How are you?
Good.
You and I did a video on Friday or Saturday.
Yes.
Drinking a beer, which
Yes.
is how we roll.
We earned it.
We earned it, in
We
fact.
worked on a Saturday.
The video we were doing was to, and I think Darren might do it for a couple days this week. Dr. Dubiak at Body.
Doing it all week.
Is he? Body by Aim. Yeah, I guess he got some phone calls, which is huge. When I tell you that it's probably close to $2,000 if you were to pay out of pocket because your insurance won't cover it, to really have a very deep dive, 65 different biomarkers, a dozen hormones, all of these things that tell the story about you and why you're not losing weight or why you feel sluggish or why you can't get enough rest or what have you, how you feel. So much can be gleaned by this very intensive deep dive blood work, but no doctor is going to prescribe it because no insurance is going to cover it. They're going to be like, that's frivolous. You don't need to do that. I.e., it's expensive. For Dr. Dubiak to offer it for $99 that's nuts. That is the blueprint. And then it would be dumb to get the blood work and not get involved in his weight loss programs. It just, because they're hand in hand. I mean, you could, but since a lot of people started going to Dr. Dubiak years ago, they've introduced these IVs where they look at where you're deficient. So I don't have B12, I have low zinc, I've got this and this and this and this. They look at your specific blood and they create an IV, like a bag, and literally one of their nurses, and it drips into your vein, and 20 minutes later, it's into your bloodstream. You're not processing it through your gut where a lot of things get wacky. That's what's different about this. Body by aim360.com. That's the blood work. That's the process. $99. That's
And then you can get on the scale.
That's pretty. Oh my God. You guys know I love you. A frog belly white me with zhuzh puts on a sports bra and shorts in freaking February and gets on a
I
scale
don't think
half
they've
naked.
put it up yet.
But it's called the shape scale. And for 60 seconds, you stand like this and it zooms around you. It's the wildest thing ever. This thing is super expensive, but it's really neat. And it shows you where you've got fluff. I'm like, I knew already. But it gives you percentages and then it has like options like you should have more creatine. How about some lunges? How about a sit up and a salad?
I was just going to say.
That's hurtful.
Wendy stood on it and the scale went, ow.
No, it's like, I know where your trouble spot
Yeah,
is. I'm
it's
like,
like-
so do we all, because we're all looking at it right now. And everybody's jammed into this stupid room where I'm half naked. I'm like, does the whole building have to be here?
That's because I had to record it.
Do we all have to be here? Like the new girl, she was like, I'm like, we don't all have to be here. Like even Darren didn't have to be there. You could leave.
The scale's like, geez.
You can go away. No, it wasn't. Shut up. That's so rude. I love that they're going after these freaking shysters. Give people their money. Absolutely. Let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. You know, they say that it could be as much as $1 trillion to $1.5 trillion a year that gets stolen from us, from every number of grifters, thieves, scams, schemes, right? Networks. $1 trillion. Imagine if you actually paid taxes that were commensurate to services rendered, right? I don't think any of us, we don't mind paying for services. I don't mind paying for the police. I don't mind paying for firefighters and emergency services. I don't mind paying for roads and bridges and trash pickup and sewer upkeep and things like that. However, we're not piggy banks. Right? We're not the financiers of every scam artist in the world who thought it would be cooler to rip people off than go get a flipping job, right? And when you hear the cavalier nature with which the Biden administration was literally trucking gold bars out of the White House and giving it to unscrupulous, unvetted, unqualified, untalented people. I mean, if I told you that the Biden administration had a plan, and their plan was they were going to do something big with the interstate system, and they were going to be, repaving, there were going to be some water things, they're going to do some mitigation, we're going to be improving the whole system, you could get behind that and say, I could see the benefit for we the people. But if you found out that the government didn't have other people compete in a bidding war, they didn't open it up to a bunch of different contractors, they just cherry picked somebody like, hey, Earl, get in there. All right, Earl. Here's what I need, right? We got this project. It's hundreds of billions of dollars. Who do we need? I mean, we can choose anybody. Who are we going to pick? Let's pick your friend, Phil, right? Phil, well, I mean, he sort of knows about, paving. He's got a truck and a couple of dudes and a cone. That sounds great. Can he start next Thursday? Yes, let's go. That is what the Biden administration did with a lot of this climate change BS. Remember when Lee Zeldin took over, and he's like, literally in the 15 days before Donald Trump was sworn in again, they literally threw out $20 billion like they were throwing gold bars off the top deck of the Titanic, throwing it into the sea, giving Stacey freaking Adams, that goofball zero election denier, gave her $2 billion for some climate initiative for a company that she started like 2 years before that had a profit of like $100 the year before. Are you kidding me? No, it's that bad. It was that bad. And then all of a sudden people are like, inflation's really bad. I don't have enough money. All of this stuff, it's too much money. It's Trump's fault. No, it's not. But that's the rub when you take over after Democrats have blown everything up. This particular story is about a niche of their cavalier, I don't give a flip. That is truly disgusting. And it has to do with these children from around the world whose parents obviously were desperate and sent their kids here to, I don't know, have a better life, only to have their children be preyed upon, whether it be on the journey to get here or once they got here and were misplaced, however you want to call it. I call it lost. The Biden administration, do you ever wonder who takes care of those kids? Where do they go? You can't just put them in a big box and give them those foil sheets and say, nighty-night, good luck with that. You've got to have, right? You've got to be able to deal with children. You have to deal with protection. You have to deal with making sure they're safe and clothed and well, and, right? Well, the Biden administration awarded a $500 billion with a B dollar contract to take care of migrant children to a politically connected nonprofit that had, wait for it, no experience handling an operation, let alone one that large, an Inspector General report says. Say what? Health and Human Services knew it was about to get hit with a wave of migrant children and didn't have the space to house them, but it delayed taking action, the department's auditors said. This is at the Washington Times, by the way. Left in the lurch, the department's Administration for Children and Families, the division charged with caring for migrant children, quickly approved an unsolicited, no-bid contract to pay $529 million to Family Endeavors Incorporated, paying more than double what it should have without even knowing if the nonprofit could actually deliver the services, the Inspector General said. So, Abby Phillip over at CNN, you wanted to fact check the New York Post's Lydia Moynihan, who factually pointed out that ICE in Minnesota during this whole, give and go with these protesters and ICE, et cetera, found 3,300 missing children, illegal alien children. They found 3,300 of them in Minneapolis. Oh, they're not really missing. You're just misspeaking. No, sweetness. No. It is not even cavalier. They don't care. The Biden administration did not care. Why would you agree to a no-bid contract of over $500 billion and not ever follow up on the kids? How does that make sense to you? The contract was approved 3 days after the unsolicited bid arrived. Sounds like Earl was the one who got checked for the job, right? This American or Administration for Children and Families paid more than double the price it estimated would be reasonable for the services being provided. Other more qualified contractors may have been available to perform the duties of the contract at a lower cost to the government. Well, screw it. This is not their money. They're shutting down the government portion of it again. Well, screw it. Whatever. We'll put the squeeze to as many people as possible. Whatever it takes. Screw you. Screw your job. We don't care. It's all about our survival. I don't care about the kids. Don't tell me it's about being humane. Don't tell me it's about feelings. It's about being good and kind. Oh, come on in. Open borders. That's humane. It's compassionate. It's evil. It's dark, and it preys on those who are least able to defend themselves, our children. And by the way, our children aren't just American children. If your foot is on this soil, you're part of our children because it is an unwritten rule of being a good human being. We take care of children. They didn't vet this company. They didn't ask for other bids. They never followed up. They never found out where the kids were. I mean, the number of unaccompanied children went up from about 5,000 a month in late 2020 to nearly 19,000 a month in March of 2021. Where are they all? And the president says they found 145,000 so far of what could be 500,000 missing kids. Where did this money go? Where did the $529 billion go? Who is this bill? Who is this business? What did they do? Where are their receipts? No. Where are the kids? Where are the kids? So the one thing that makes sense to me here is that an accompanying story to this is that ICE is ramping up its deportation efforts. How? Well, as Biden spent $529 billion on services never rendered in a no-bid contract with an organization that doesn't specialize in children and had no ability in any way, matter, or form of dealing with 19,000 kids a month. Right? Your Trump administration is ramping up the deportation push by boosting capacity at these facilities that it's quietly been purchasing. You know, almost looks like an Amazon facility, one of those monster processing facilities at the top of the hill. It's like a whole citywide. That's what they're buying, this Trump administration. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement planning to boost migrant detention capacity to 92,600 beds as a part of a nationwide deportation push. The memo, this agency memo dated February 13th, lays out a sweeping overhaul designed to support what ICE describes as the ability to effectuate mass deportations, including 8 mega centers capable of housing up to 10,000 detainees each and slated to be fully operational by November 30th of this year. And the memo states that the initiative will be funded through congressional allocations under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. It's almost like Trump had this all planned out. But beyond the mega centers, the plan calls for 16 regional processing sites built to hold between 1,000 and 1,500 detainees for short stays of 3 to 7 days, and the acquisition of 10 existing turnkey centers where ICE enforcement and removal operations already operates. They're rounding them up and getting them out, rounded up, get them out, round them up. This is why the Democrat Party is so desperate for Trump's plans to be derailed. However you can, fight Kristi Noem, call her the devil, fight ICE, call them murderers and Nazis, whatever it takes. And Trump is saying, yeah, about that. We already have the leases. We're ready to roll. Oh, boy. When we get back on the Wendy Bell radio program, New York City's latest swing and miss. They want to give money to the homeless. No guardrails, no checks and balances. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? That sounds like a great plan. Awesome. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. It's up there with needles. We're going to give you clean needles. We're going to give you some water because you got to do something with water and that thing and that thing. Yeah, we're going to skip all that. We're just going to give you cash so you can meander and, because you'll probably spend that money on a hotel or housing or something. Right. Make it make sense, y'all. Trump and co, they're like, let's go. We're going to get you out. The newly released document comes as ICE has quietly purchased at least 7 warehouses, some exceeding 1 million square feet. Where? Across Arizona, Georgia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Texas. Huh. Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons said this week there are about 1.6 million illegal aliens in the U.S. with final deportation orders, roughly half of whom have criminal convictions. But these are the people that the left is going to fight for. Fight! Here's Donald Trump. Fight, fight, fight. Here's liberals. Fight for my abuela. Maryland man. Good hardworking people. See? No. Yeah. All right, let's talk about who we want to talk. Disc Institute of Pittsburgh. I love when I hear about people talk about Dr. Sienkiewicz or Dr. Rafferty, excuse me. Dr. Rafferty, because you know what? If you're going to spend 8 to 10 weeks at a facility, which is phenomenal, and you're going to go 3 times a week and you're going to have this therapy, and the therapy allows you to avoid surgery where somebody you don't know is cutting into your spine and fiddling with stuff. I'd rather try to grow my discs back myself. And that is what this process called intradisc neutrosis is all about. So the number one thing people talk about, it's not that they are pain-free, 98% successful, because they are. It's not that the process wasn't hurtful. It didn't involve needles or cutting or blood or anything, because it didn't. It's that Dr. Rafferty and the team are the nicest people ever. It's all they say. This is the nicest group of medical professionals I've ever spent time with. Literally, I'm upset that my therapy is done because they've become part of my life and I enjoy them. That is a special connection. That's when you do more than you heal people. You give them hope. That's what it is. So ask about it. Call 412-906-9600, PittsburghDiscInstitute.com. It works. 98% successful, and after 5 years, it's still 96% effective, which is pretty big deal. Okay, what's going on, Brock? You seem very quiet today. Well, we're no closer to 3.
No.
Makes a huge difference. You know. Oh, I guess Ellen DeGeneres is back. Oh, goody.
Oh,
just in time for Pizzagate. Is it really possible that the pizza was really because they were eating people? It's like you don't even want to open up the idea of it because evil can slip in. All right, so you got the Trump administration and ICE buying, and it was all packed into that one big, beautiful bill. Kind of smart, wasn't it? Pack all of this funding in to buy, and it's something like $35 billion. Look, Donald Trump back in the day asked for a paltry, and they laughed at him as though it was some exorbitant number. He asked for $8 billion to build the wall. Oh, that's outrageous. Of course, now we all understand why they wouldn't have accepted such an idea, because you need a very porous border if you're going to bring in 20 million Democrat voters. Well, let's read this about New York City. I lived there for a year, did not like it, but the people who do deserve much better than this. This is a headline from Daily Mail. Liberal city's wild experiment giving young homeless people a state-of-the-art shelter, $15,800 in free cash. But it's not free because who pays for it? That's right, that's you, taxpayers. Let's get this story. The giving homeless young adults up to $15,800 in no strings attached cash to spend however they choose may not sound like the most sensible use of taxpayers' money, but neither was spending $529 billion to, I don't know, take care of and home and perhaps parent the unaccompanied migrant children that came here in droves. But you guys didn't care about kids. You cared about your own money in the coffers. Never, ever were unfilled, were they, Democrats? It's exactly what New York City has started doing under a controversial new experiment dubbed Cash with Care. There's always some drippy, syrupy nonsense on it to make you feel like, right, you're doing something. Cash with Care, which aims to help move youth out of shelters for good. How does it work? I'm glad you asked. The pilot provides 60 homeless youths aged 18 to 24. I'm not sure there's a youth, but okay. With $1,200 a month for 9 months, plus access to a one-time $5,000 lump sum, a total of up to $15,800 per person, no strings attached, and with zero spending restrictions. Brock, I don't like to be a naysayer, but what could go wrong with such a program?
I can't see how anyone would get any kind of fraud out of that.
What the heck would you ever do with all that money that nobody's paying attention to? The $1.5 million program approved by the New York City Council in December. By the way, 51 people on New York City Council. Guess how many of them are Republicans? That'd be 5. And we wonder why this garbage gets passed. The $1.5 million approved by the city council in December immediately raised eyebrows, prompting skepticism, not only from taxpayers and city hall critics, but also from leaders at the facility where the recipients live. Covenant House is the city's largest provider of services for homeless youth. And it's 12. I bet you if we did a dive on anything about Covenant House, we would find, so many curious transactions, right? Covenant House, the city's largest provider of services for homeless youth, and its 12-story state-of-the-art building includes a high-end recording studio, an NBA-funded basketball court, and a walk-in closet stocked with free clothes. What? Why don't you just go? What's that show where they all go on some thing together and they're all bachelor, not the Bachelor. What is it? Young people all hanging out together, pretending like this is it. And there's some cool, great condo or what is this?
The Real World?
The Real World. Thank you. You only made me twist for 45 painful seconds. Gee whiz. New Yorkers deserve to know exactly what outcomes we're getting for that money. Well, yeah, I would agree. I don't mean to be, kind of a poo-pooer of things, but being a realist, I'm just going to tell you, it ain't going to help anybody. We're going to give you $1,200 a month. Well, they'll get that on the street. They'll get drugs, right? I don't even think they have to pay for their drugs. The whole homeless industrial complex, it's all by design. Got to have the drug zombies. In what world? Do you really think that $1.5 million is going to anybody who's homeless? Or do you think that's just an easy grift to kind of slide under the radar? I mean, $1.5 million. It's just $1.5 million. Really? That's the system. That's how it happens. Find somebody you need to save. We can do this. It's going to be revolutionary. Yeah. How much? $1.5 million. We'll see how many homeless teens and youths taken off the street in New York. Can't wait for that follow-up report. When we come back, the left's desperation to memory hole 2020 election integrity hearings. Yeah, it's not working. We're going to take you to Detroit. It's truly despicable what they did, ladies and gentlemen. I got the proof next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
You had to give me a chance to think about it. I had to decipher what you were talking
Isn't
about.
that it? Where they all look at each other, who's going to hook up, and we can get hammered, and we're going to go in the hot tub.
And they live for free.
And they live for free, and nobody has any responsibility, and it's all about showing your fake tan. And
then the one year I used to watch it, they had them work at a radio station.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. There's like somewhere in the promotions and
Nuh-uh.
yeah. Yeah.
That sounds kind of dippy.
Yeah. Let me tell you, whoever was working at that radio station was probably like, are you kidding me?
So Nancy Guthrie, alive or dead?
Who cares? Wow.
Wow. That was bold.
I'm
Fox News alert. Breaking news, this just in. We still haven't found her. Phil, thanks, Bob. What do you have? Well, not a whole lot. How long's my hit? I can tell you, I heard one correspondent today. It was on Fox. The dumbest thing ever. They were likening Nancy Guthrie's disappearance with the Lindbergh baby's kidnapping. I'm like, not to be disrespectful to anybody. Come on, man. You can do better than that. Let me tell you about Kelly Morgan, Morgane's Fitness. You can do better than that. But you know what? Sometimes, I'll tell you what, when you don't know the right exercises, you don't know the right food, you don't know the right formula, and you just know that you really aren't eating that much to be as uncomfortably overweight as you are. And you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but ever since such and such, I'm packing on 5 pounds a year. It adds up. And now I'm 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight. How do I get this under control? Kelly Morgan at Morgane's Fitness offers a really great program for you that you can do from the privacy of your home in another state. Hell, you could be on another continent. And she can zoom in with you. She can tell you the exercises that you need. She can go over the foods that are good for you to stay away from, others that are, and size-wise that you need. She understands all that, plus supplementation. As a professional bodybuilder, she gets it. And she knows that not everybody wants to look ripped, right? But it would be nice to see your abs again, or to be able to tie your shoes comfortably. Morgane's Fitness, MORGAINZ fitness.com. That's before and after. Look at that.
That's nuts.
You know, and I wonder if it's the same for men. If having youth on your side is a huge game changer. It's got to be.
What?
Just like a younger man like that is going to lose that faster, I think, than somebody who's older. Am I wrong?
No. I think once you start moving and once you start eating right, it comes up. Obviously, the more you have to lose, the faster it comes off. I know, it just kicked on for the second time today. But it is a balmy 45 degrees outside. So.
Oh, my goodness. So throughout all of this today, I was telling Brock, I'm like, I just don't feel like there's this prevailing theme. There's not something that jumps out at me that's like the glue that holds all of this together. It's like, it's almost like they want you blindfolded, swinging for a piñata, and they're moving the location of the piñata.
That's what I think the release of the Epstein files. It's just there's so much to just cause mass confusion. And then you get people to dig in on something and they start arguing about it. And then it comes out that not everything you just argued about doesn't. It's the Democrats with Donald Trump. Donald Trump, this on the Epstein file. And then it comes out and it's like, oh, wait, Donald Trump's not. He's the one that was like the whistleblower.
Well, and for Jamie Raskin to be like, they were best friends,
No,
close friends. Like,
he even admitted they weren't best friends.
It's really unfortunate. There's not a moment that's not worthy of a lie, I guess. Isn't that so offensive to you? It's so offensive to me.
I'm going to go home and watch the Fox News alerts.
No, you're not. God bless America.
Yeah, I know. It's going right down my back. You can tell I zipped up my thing. It's going right down my back.
Rrr. That wasn't like, rrr. That meant like, rrr.
It wasn't how you doing.
No.
It was like, what the?
Yes. There's a difference, and they sounded very similar. So I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page. I know, right? I love you guys. I should have gone to the bathroom. What? Wendy Bell radio program. I hope that you are following the president on his Truth Social account, because it actually really matters. I believe this president, obviously keenly aware of fake news, keenly aware of all of the stories that I share with you about how biased, purposefully so, all of these news outlets are. This president tells you exactly where he wants you to go, and he tells you where he's going to. And he does it by dropping little truth bombs, videos on Truth Social. And these are not new. These are things that we've covered, that we've talked about. It was 4.5 years ago, but we did, right? And it's all about the 2020 election. So he's posted video from Pennsylvania. I mean, how do you send out 1.8 million absentee or mail-in ballots and receive, process, and tally and count 2.5 million? Well, where does that come from? 1.8 plus 700,000, 2.5? How do you do that? Well, very interesting. The left's desperation to memory hole all of the anomalies, all of the abject filth that so many of us watched. Look, I was a poll watcher at my particular precinct in my neighborhood. And it's very interesting because multiple people who were Republicans had to have their ballots adjudicated for whatever reason. And so those ballots went into an envelope. Where the envelope went, I don't know. And to be perfectly honest with you, I should have pushed, because I think we would have exposed a lot more even in my little community. Well, this woman that you're about to hear from lives in Detroit. And she came to this country 40 odd years ago. And she became a citizen. And for 35 years, she's been working for the city of Detroit as an engineer. And she's been working the elections. She is so proud of America. She believes it is one small way she can give back and say thank you to the Detroit people, to the Michiganders, to also the American people for giving her the opportunity to live in such a spectacular place. But she witnessed something. And she's talking to Rudy Giuliani. This is December 2nd, 2020. It's a Michigan House Oversight Committee hearing. Her name is Jessie Jacob, Jessy, if you'd like to do your own digging. She's very interesting. She's Indian. She's kind of hard to understand until you get into a jam following her dialect. But the pain that she feels and the frustration she expresses, you don't need a translator for this. So she's talking about being directed as an election worker in Detroit, being directed by her bosses to verify ballots she was processing on November 4th, the day after the election, that they wanted her to approve as being there on premises the day before election. So instead of saying these came here on November 4th, approving them and saying they came on November 2nd. Well, that's a clear violation of the basic rule book. And she couldn't do that. And so she had affixed a Post-it note to one of them and was going to say to people in the elections team, hey, this is a problem. And then so began a very slippery slope for her, where she basically got bullied and harassed and ridiculed and reduced to tears and forced out of this voting, the counting place. So here she says, audio soundbite number 1, she was told not to check signatures on these ballots. Don't worry about it. She's like, look, they don't match. And her election or her polling bosses said, just skip it. We're just trying to process as many as possible. Stop talking. Keep working. And she knew there was a problem. Here's Jesse Jacob from Detroit, December 2020.
I showed that ballot in the QVF. After I searched the voter, I showed the signature on the QVF file and also the signature on the envelope. Totally different. Totally different.
The signatures were totally different?
Yes.
Who did you show that to?
To Mr. Chris Thomas. And
what did he say?
He said, oh, that's okay. Let it go. Just let it go. That's fine. Okay, let it go.
Now, he was the boss, right?
Yes. Yes.
He was the boss, right? So you're noticing these things that they're asking you to do. The signatures don't match on any of them. These ballots all came in after the date they should have. They want you to lie on them and ignore that the signatures don't even come close to matching. And when you flagged your boss was like, it's fine. Just keep doing what you're doing. And she's like, this is the voice. This is the voice of the whistleblower for no other reason than it's wrong. North is still north, even if you stand by yourself. This woman who's lived in Detroit for going on 40 years, who became a citizen, who is so grateful, is absolutely disgusted. She's stunned what they're asking her to do. She says, wait a minute, my election bosses were telling me to verify the ballots with bad signatures and telling me to lie about the date that they were received. I can't do that. Listen.
They are telling me to enter November 2nd on the date to be received November 2nd on November 4th. Which date I will initial on the ballot? November 4th or November 2nd? I couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it. She as the worker is supposed to put her initials saying, yes, I received this on November 2nd. All is good. Wink, wink. You right? And she's like, I couldn't do it. I could not. And so I said no. And so Rudy asks her, okay, so you say no, and you stand up to these people and you go through all the proper channels. You've been doing elections for 30 odd years. You've never been asked to do this before. You've never seen ballots being dropped off late and in droves. You've never seen things not match. You've never been asked to break the law, but now you are. So what happened to you from these people after basically they realized that you caught on to what was going on?
So how would you describe how they treated you and how you reacted to it?
Oh, it is, they treated me like a criminal, humiliated me, harassed me, so intimidating. I mean, I couldn't, it was so bad. I really want to serve the city of Detroit. Very truthfully and sincerely. That's what I was doing all these 34 years I've been working with the city. My whole family, we are proud that we are working, me and my husband both are working for the city of Detroit. I never expected this kind of treatment. It was really, really bad.
Oh my gosh. They blackballed her, ostracized her, demeaned her, criticized her. Then they moved her location somewhere else, basically pushing her further and further away, and then stopped giving her jobs and then told her just to leave. You're not wanted here. She's the kind of immigrant we want. She's the kind of person we're desperate for. We want you. We want you to come here and love this place that we, quite frankly, too often take for granted. That's that woman. For 34 years. Volunteering at the elections because it's her way to give back and to say thank you to America. Thank you for giving me my life, only to realize what was going on. And finally, she breaks down remembering their cruelty and the harassment that she endured, and then thanks the American people for the opportunity to serve. Are you kidding me?
I just want to be so thankful. I've been in this country for 35 years. I'm so thankful for this country, for all the opportunities. And I am who I am because of this nation.
That is what we're wanting. Jesse, Jacob, is what America likes and wants. It makes me so angry. How dare they? How many people were in on it? How many people had to be so awful, without even the slightest hint of remorse? What happened to these people? Where's their conscience? Where is that person inside of you that's so simple? Are they dead? Have they been co-opted, corrupted? I don't know. I want you to hear this. This is an expert. This is a multiple forensic experts. Trump put this out that said, yes, they could access Dominion voting machines from other countries and manipulate the machines. Yes, they can. Yes, they did. And yes, I watched it. Don't tell me that was the safest, most secure election ever. This video, I believe, out of Colorado.
If I'm remembering correctly, there were several states involved.
And which time period are you referring to?
This was 2020.
Before or after the election?
During the election.
In your examination of any of these Dominion systems, have you seen any indication of non-election personnel remotely accessing a Dominion system?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
I too have reviewed a series of emails produced by Dominion in which they're discussing remoting into Gwinnett County, Georgia.
You also mentioned Dominion remotely connecting to election systems, but you don't have any evidence that occurred in Georgia, correct?
There was one county. I've seen a lot of Dominion emails. I've had to translate Dominion emails from Serbian to English to verify the technical questions I was being asked about them, to verify that it was translated properly. So
it's your testimony that there is evidence of Dominion remotely accessing Georgia election equipment?
yes, on the one county. It was included with stuff that I was researching and reading through, considering Colorado. Michigan was also involved, and there were other ones.
Come on. How many of these do we need to play? Well, apparently quite a few. And we will continue to play those as the president continues to drop them. It cannot happen again. What's it going to be this time? What kind of virus guys are they going to drop? Because the time's of the essence, right? We're TikToking. Everybody out there knows the economy's getting better. What are you going to do to force people at home? How are you going to steal it again, Democrats? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, oh, goody. Rosie O'Donnell is back from Ireland. Sadly, our go-away party didn't last long enough. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I want to get to the second expert, though. I don't want to jip that. I got to hear that.
I sent you a text too.
Telling me that I'm fabulous?
How'd you know? Well, I guess you don't have to read it.
Fabulous! Let's see. President Trump said there will be voter ID requirements for the midterm elections, whether approved by Congress or not, vowing to issue an executive order if legislation fails. Then they're going to go to task with him on how how binding are they? Yes, he's telling
Thune,
get
either
off
do
your
it.
ass.
I don't care what you're doing.
Yes,
but
yes,
it's going to get done regardless.
Mm-hmm. It's not. So I'm sorry if you guys wanted a super salacious dive into the Epstein black hole, but I'd rather have my mind be like Allie and Ryan rather than Jeffrey and. Ugh. Ugh.
How do you, here's the thing. How do you cover Epstein?
You can. It's a losing proposition.
Because it's the one, what's true, what's not true. Because regardless of what you read, can you verify that? You know, like, and there's so much. It would be weeks of shows of saying, okay, today we're going to talk about this portion. Today we're going to talk about that portion.
And beyond that, it's there's a powerful amount of suggestion and innuendo. Just because somebody is connected on an email, whether somebody I like or not.
If I like their music and I mention an email, boom, it's there. Or did you hear what you just, because I don't know what Thomas Massey is. Maybe he said, I don't really like this Thomas Massey. Well, now Thomas Massey's in the file. You know, it's the same thing with Trump. Donald Trump and I did not get it. We fought. Okay, well, you're in the file now. And
Thomas Massey still doesn't understand. Like, I don't understand how it's not about when you're with someone who sucks the oxygen out of a room. It's not about you anymore.
Whatever. Do you guys remember Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene saying they were going to go after the slush fund and find out Congress's slush fund that they paid the sex people
Oh, yeah,
off?
$17 million.
What did they ever do with that?
I don't know. Well, too many people are on it. So they're like,
Marjorie Taylor Greene, where were you? Thomas Massey, where are you? Dig into that.
Where do you think she ends up? I don't care.
Oh, she's hitting every podcast circuit. She'll probably write a book or something. Who knows? At this point, I don't care.
At this point,
if you're not getting shit done, I don't care anymore.
Who would want that? Because Republicans are grumpy at her and Democrats never trusted her. So what's your base on that? Right?
I care as much about the Nancy Guthrie than I do Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I am not going to do expert two.
You're not?
Does it feel odd that I come back to that?
Not with that story I just sent you too. The Trump executive order. It's up to you.
It's a good call.
I'll follow you.
You sent me Harry.
You're the boss.
You sent me Harry already. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. Final segment is never a throwaway. ABC News is reporting President Trump said there will be voter ID requirements for the midterm elections, quote, whether approved by Congress or not, vowing to issue an executive order if legislation fails. You know what? Here's the problem with executive orders. Unless John Thune gets off his duff, and unless the Republicans do one of something in the Senate, all of Trump's executive orders fly right out the window if they manage to steal 28. Everything he did just gets erased with an auto pen or what have you. Like, I love that he's doing this, but it's like, If the Republicans can't figure it out, every single one of them has to go. Every single one of them, a wholesale yard sale, all of you gone. I want you to hear the second elections expert. And this person speaking, I believe, in fact, it's in Gwinnett County, Georgia. They're saying this is a hearing on election fraud and all the weird stuff of 2020, which you're keenly aware of because we talk about it ad nauseum and you're not stupid. Can Dominion systems, remember, we're not talking about that. No, can't talk about Dominion. Oh, they're going to sue you. You're going to get sued. And so everyone's like, it was all very interesting how that happened. Can Dominion log into these voting machines without anyone knowing about it is the question. Did you see it happen? The answer, well, let's listen.
Your understanding, is Dominion able to remotely connect to these election systems?
Yes.
Are they able to do that without detection?
Yes.
And are you aware of any instances in which that has occurred?
Yes.
Can you identify those instances?
One would be the Denver, Colorado server was granted, or requested to grant Belgrade, only Belgrade. I did search. There is a Belgrade, Montana. Again, why would Montana need to connect into a Colorado file transfer server as part of the election system? And there are other components and things that were done in the background concerning the database and the configure of the database server that still do not have an engineering change order.
Did you see it happen? Yes. Did it happen undetected? Yes. So wait a minute, all those times, none of our machines are connected to the internet. Oh, it's totally safe and secure. It's going to be perfect. Oh, remember that? Because I remember that. I remember getting browbeaten with that. And that. No, it's totally safe and secure. Like, it's perfect. It's 100% fabulous. You don't have to worry about a thing. And we're like, right. Sounds like somebody who's about to bone us all. Well, I figure I might as well leave you guys. I know you were worried about her. I wonder if she's going to go back to the old house. If we're going to see the squirrels. I don't know.
I hope so. I miss the squirrels.
Rosie O'Donnell clearly needing an intervention, looks homeless now, but she says she and her family are going to quietly return to the scary United States to see if it's safe for her family. Oh, so she's coming first. She's going to fly in and see if it's safe first. It's sad. Rosie, I don't wish any ill will upon you. I think you're toxic, but I don't wish anything bad to happen to you. We make fun of you. I'm sorry. Right? It's just, you're kind of amusing in a sad way. And we hope that either you get over whatever has you so freaked out and triggered about Donald Trump and this administration. I hope it works for you. Or you find some kind of solace returning outside to feed your squirrels. Because I know that this is leftist loon Rosie O'Donnell recently quietly returned to the United States to see if it was, quote, safe for her daughter. Speaking of her daughter, who has a lot more problems than the United States being safe, right? Speaking on Sirius XM host Chris Cuomo's show this week, she said she came back to visit with family and determine whether it would be safe for her and her daughter to come over for the entire upcoming summer. I was recently home for 2 weeks and I did not really tell anyone. She began. I just went to see my family. I wanted to see how hard it would be for me to get in and get out of the country. What are you talking about? See, don't be like Rosie, okay? That should be a big picture. We should pass this out in school. Dare to keep your kids or your brain off drugs. Dare to not be Rosie O'Donnell ever, because it doesn't end well, ladies and gentlemen. But she's coming back. I'm sorry. There you go. I guess Ireland wasn't as alluring as she thought. I guess it rains a lot there. Golf is good. Super good. All right, in the beer. All right, guys, love being with you. Come on back tomorrow. We'll do it again, 21 hours. Thanks for being part of the Wendy Bell Radio program. Love you. Peace.